Hello, everyone. We're again, and it's episode 119. Yes, and as always, I've got Delboy. Thank you so much for coming here again and sat here for a few hours. So listening to us go on, and as usual, I say anybody can ask anything you want. Please, but it doesn't all have to be film related. But I know people enjoy films and we love films, but it can be just ask us anything. But as usual, I always say, what have you been watching this week? And what
Well,
has anything arrived as well? So there we
yeah,
are.
yeah. I haven't watched too much, but the excitement was, and a lot of people who really know me knows I did get to the cinema. And I think most people would know what I went to see.
There's a big flow behind you.
Well, yeah, there's a big clue,
Yeah.
there. But it's difficult to say, does anybody want to ask me questions on that? Because I don't want to alienate people who haven't seen it yet. But the good news about all of that is it looks like half the bleeding planet's seen it based on the figures that were coming in after 4 days. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's doing really well. But that gives me a happy thought, but it gives me a bigger happy thought in the fact that people are just going to the cinema, because that must be good. Do you know what I mean? And if those people that went to the cinema also bought food, well, bloody hell, I wish I had shares in a cinema just for a week, because I'd say here's my money for shares, and then after a week I'd sell them off and say thanks very much, and I get a big profit, right? Because all the money that film's made. But it's exciting times, and there's films still to go this year, and maybe there's going to be some more good stuff. I mean, I mentioned that I was a bit disappointed with the trailers that I saw in this film. I'm not really excited about a new Johnny Depp film with it didn't look particularly fantastic or exciting to me.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And they showed that dinosaur film that you showed in your SFX magazine, that something Edge Street or whatever it is. I haven't got Elm Street, whatever it was. That looked pretty pants. But there was one about how Rocky was made called I Am Stallone or something, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which I'd see that, because I know so much about that. I mean, there's been so many documentaries about Rocky, hasn't there? How he wrote it in a weekend, and he only had his dog left, and he had about $100 left in the bank, and he insisted that he was in it, and the studios turned around and said, you miss one day on set and we're going to bring some other actor in, and all of this sort of stuff. It's all well documented, and they showed this trailer of it, and it looked all right. You know what I mean? And I'm going, wow, I don't know how well it would do, whether that sort of film has got an audience. But that looked all right. And of course, we have still got 5 months left of this year.
Yeah.
So who's to say?
Lots of interesting stuff.
Is going to do well.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to ask me a question on my cinema going, you can, but I'm just a little bit cautious on the fact that it's still the first week, and a lot of people might still want to be going to see. I know that's not the same for Psy, but there are others in here, and I'm very, very want people to know it without me spoiling it. See what I mean? So what else did I see? On TV, I've watched 2 really old comedies. Well, I say old comedies. They take me back to a happy time, which is the 80s. I saw Twins, and I saw My Stepmother is an Alien.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, okay. My Stepmother and Alien is never going to shock the world, and it's sometimes considered to be a pretty poor comedy and all of that sort of stuff. But what we have to remember is that I was seeing absolutely everything at the pictures.
Yeah.
So I actually saw that in the pictures. It had Dan Aykroyd in it, had Kim Basinger in it. It was a science fiction-y comedy type thing. It was fun, and it actually got me interested in Jimmy Durante, who I'd only sort of semi heard of back in the 80s when that was mentioned in the film. Jimmy Durante is an old sort of song and dance entertainer that was doing films in the 30s and 40s. You know what I mean? So he wasn't like Laurel and Hardy and and all of that, Abbott and Costello and all of that sort of stuff, Chaplin or so. Jimmy Durante didn't really mean too much to me, but it made me go and sort of like look at that. And that just goes to show what my love of films was, because there was no internet back then, So those were what were on TV. I did open up my copy of, I'll have to turn the background off, if I'm going to show stuff that's arrived. I did open up my Spaceballs, which is, by the way, a lovely steelbook. Look at that, spot glossing but there's, embossing. It's a lovely set. German.
Yeah.
I missed I didn't know if there's an English release, but I missed it if there was. But this one I'm quite happy with. Spaceballs. What can we say about Spaceballs? There's a Spaceballs 2 coming out this year, and when I saw it, I thought it was funny. All the names like John Candy with Barf, half man, half dog, and all this sort of stuff, and Yogurt the Great, just plain yogurt and all of that, combing the desert, all of that sort of stuff. It's funny, Perrier. That was quite good as well. It's got some funny moments in it, and so it was fun to go back to that. It's not a Young Frankenstein, it's not a Blazing Saddles, but it's an okayish satire, and I like satire. But there's lots of stuff for me to watch soon. There's this box set of 30 Days of Night that I'm quite looking forward to seeing, which has come in a sort of like a box set. Have you ever seen 30 Days of Night, a vampire film?
Quite a few years ago. Yeah, I'm sure I have seen that one. It's a good one.
So it's quite a nice looking one. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. One that you'd be interested in for definite, which is Joan of Arc.
Oh, yeah. That looks good, doesn't it? That looks really good.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing that, because that's historical.
Yeah.
And then this huge Hammer X the Unknown box.
Oh, that looks great. It's the sci-fi Hammer, isn't it? When they're doing sci-fi.
So it goes with my other Quatermass and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, because these have always excited. When I've actually got to open them, they've always been exquisite.
They've done a great job, haven't they? Yeah.
So I'm expecting this one to be equally as exquisite as the others.
Yeah.
So I'm not disappointed that how much this cost and it came through, and because I pre-ordered that some time back, and I know what the transfers are like of these hammers. They don't scrimp.
No.
And they also they usually give you several different versions of it. And, loads of extras, and every bit of information they can throw at you is put into these collections.
And that's why they're expensive, but there's a lot put in. They're not lazy, are they?
So I'm looking forward to when they get to Dracula and all of that sort of stuff, because these are sort of like fringe things. But I'm looking forward actually to the next one. I think it's the Abominable Snowman.
Oh yeah, because that's not
that I remember seeing, and I don't mind paying for that, because I loved that film when it came out.
It's only got a DVD.
Peter Cushing's in that.
Yeah. I think Tony's talked about it as well. Abominable Snowman, but I'm sure it's only got a DVD release, I think. You might be able to get. I don't know. You'll probably know. You can get a.
I'll expect him to send that in the post to you then. You know, because he's bound sure to have ordered it, and it'll be winging its way Royal Mail over to you.
Oh no, we're going to get to Tony York corner.
The Tony York corner.
I don't think there is one this week either. So there we are.
Oh bloody hell! He's going to go mental. Down. You know, he's going to think that you've gone off him or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What else can I say? I have listened to some soundtracks, mostly the Spider-Man ones. It's weird. Right. It's weird how. I will say this about Brand New Day. I don't think it's a very strong soundtrack. I didn't really hear a theme, you know, that like you have in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, there was an obvious theme, you know. Even the one of the best themes was actually Andy Garfield's first Spider-Man outing was a fantastic theme. I think that was Horner that did that. The second Garfield one was more a collaboration with bands, and I think it was Zimmer, Hans Zimmer, was it? Could be. You know, because there was some chanting going on with Electro saying they hate me, they shoot me, they all this with a sort of like a weird sort of like bass thing going on. But again, I like a film with a theme because it goes back to my childhood with the Superman theme. Do you see what I mean? There is the Superman march, and it adds to the film. Everybody knows that theme, and it's just that's Superman, right? You know, I'd like them to do that and say, oh yeah, that's Spider-Man. You see what I mean? But if you keep changing things around, or you don't make something obvious to be a theme, you know, then it turns out to be just a score. Do you see what I mean? And then and there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but when you're talking about a character-led film, then you want a theme for that character. Do you see what I mean? Like like Blade Runner has got a main theme, and you've even got the love theme in there, and all of that sort of stuff, and it mentions characters in those ones, don't they? You know, forgotten her name. Bloody hell! Well, I don't know why I mentioned it now, but Vangelis, it was something's theme, isn't it? Love theme, and it's the replicant. You know, the girl.
Oh right, yes.
Got no bloody name now.
Yeah, so I have actually. I can't tell you.
But this is where my brain's not working particularly well. I'm full of Spider-Man, right? I'm going, people might ask me a Spider-Man question. I'm going to have everything already, you know. Not that I did any research. I'm just saying that, my head's full of a possible answer to what a possible question might be, you know. But yeah, so I did listen to a Jerry Goldsmith score. I won't mention who it is, but it was it. I'll tell you what is interesting. All this week as well, they've had Stargate Atlantis on.
Oh yeah.
Rachel was the name in blue. That was it. So it's Rachel, right? Stargate Atlantis on, and that's done by Jerry Goldsmith's son, Joel.
Oh right.
Goldsmith. And I thought to myself, you know, when I think about Stargate, I love the theme to Stargate, the film, and I quite like the theme to the TV series. But I tell you what, I think Stargate Atlantis' theme is fantastic.
Oh, wow.
It is absolutely gorgeous, that score at the beginning. You know, no matter what you want to talk about when it comes to Atlantis, because it lasted, 5 seasons? And it might have lost its way a bit towards the end. It still had fun characters in it, especially the Doctor Mackay, or whatever his name was. I always found him an interesting character because he's right obnoxious. Oh my God, I'm a genius. Why are you not listening to me? And all this sort of stuff. Because you're an arrogant sod. That's what it is. It's like, why didn't you know this after 5 bloody years that you're just arrogant? You know, which, you know, you could look at that as the right, but it was fun each week. because
Oh,
you know what I
oh,
mean.
that series. I love the Stargate stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a
you
shame.
know.
The word. Do you remember they said they were going to bring it back, and then they decided against it. I
Yeah,
think.
well, they did all these little mini
Yeah,
films, and they thought that there was the time, wasn't there? And
yeah,
again, that's the mentality of the studio saying we're going to bring you all back, and we're not going to leave you alone, and then they don't.
but yeah, but yeah,
Oh yeah, you can't do that. What do you mean?
yeah,
It's a bloody military. We
yeah.
can't
Oh
do that. It's
no,
a military present. Do you think military wouldn't act like that? That of course there are enemies. That's why there's a military.
yeah,
You know, what are you trying to do? Why are you doing this? And I'm just going, oh,
yeah.
you know, can you imagine? Oh, you know, we can't do Napoleon because
It's got too many guns in it,
yeah.
muskets and cannons.
Unfortunately, it's a battle between two sides, and we can't show the favoritism on one side or something. And I'm going, bloody hellfire! It's history and it's military, and that's what military do, right? What you expect?
Yeah.
So
A
I
worse
hate
one
all
would be,
I hate
oh
all that
dear,
mentality. So
we can't show horses, but you can. Yeah, unfortunately, horses were used, and
yes,
they did become casualties. Oh, we can't show them. Well, what do you do? You know, well, you can't.
yeah.
Perhaps
So
they want to rewrite history.
so anyway, that's sort of like what I watch, and you may think, oh, actually you watched quite a bit. Maybe you do think that. I don't know. I just know that so many people are out there, they watch one film a day or whatever it is, or even a couple. I wish I could do that. I wish I had more to say. I hope what I've said is enough to show that I do like films. Do you know what I mean? I am trapped a little bit. You know what I mean, with
Yeah.
care and caring and work and all of
Mm,
that sort of stuff. Which reminds me, you will see me go off every now and again to check on my mum. I thank you very much, Ian, for allowing me on
it's okay.
and
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
But I think there's some couple of good talking points in there. Probably the hammer one is a good talking point. If you don't want to hear spoilers of Spider-Man from me, I'm looking forward to that. So there you go. But over to you and your preview of what I've watched, episode 6422.
Right. Before I get into it, I've actually watched a a BBC series that
Is it Anna Droid?
sometimes you get short feeds, and I saw this and I thought, oh, that looks interesting, and I clicked it. I thought, oh, I'd like to see that more, and then I found it was on the iPlayer, BBC iPlayer, so I just watched it all.
Was it Anna Droid?
That's right.
Because you mentioned it in SFX, and I was going,
yeah.
Why didn't you mention more about that? Because it's Diane Morgan. She was part of the Charlie Brooker wipes and doing all the Philomena Kunk and all of that sort of stuff. And I kept thinking that it's probably going to be a bit like Megan.
Yeah.
I do know it's got Sue Johnston in it.
That's right. Honestly, I related a lot to it, and I think a lot of people would, because really it's about loss, and she's lost her husband.
Yeah,
she's grieving, and then she gets this robot in her
life. By the way, I'm not going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Right? I've seen 2 episodes of it. Fire away. I'll tell you whether I think it's worth watching anymore.
I related to this straight away. I thought it was just. I think Sue Johnson was excellent in it, and Diane Morgan. It's about their relationship. The son is a bit of a. He's not actually a very good character, but he thinks he's doing something nice, and he decides that his mum, she's lost her husband. She needs a companion. Hires this robot, and that's how that's all sort of premise behind it and what happens their relationship. But first, she's not very sort of happy to have this robot, but they kind of build up a relationship, and it's just. I just sat there watching it and just thinking, this is so good. there may not be loads of action stuff happening and that have you, but it's about their relationship. I say that, but incidents do happen in there as they're going along, and it just bonds them together. And the both performances are really good. I've never seen this Diane Morgan before, but you know, she apparently wrote it all as well. She obviously got a lot of talent, and her performance is just. She plays Linda, this android robot, and it amazed me because I've been quite critical that the BBC doesn't seem to produce much new, interesting things nowadays. It's all the same. They're not doing what they should be doing. You know, they get all this money and it's dying, is the BBC. But it shows you that if they support creative people, they can produce good programs still. And I just felt that. And so, you know, and all that was triggered from just a short that appeared in my feed. I just clicked it and thought, oh, that looks interesting. So I'm really, really pleased I saw that. And as soon as I got it's easy to watch as well, because I think the episodes must be about half hour each. So you can just binge watch it pretty quickly. Excellent. Anyhow, so then the next thing is another thing that I can't resist it. It's like I have to do it, and no matter what, I have to watch these blooming films again. But here we are. Let's get into it. Here they are. I've got the whole series here. It's Final Destination again. I'm just addicted. I'm addicted. There's something wrong with me. I honestly, these films, they've always grabbed me. And I think another thing that I wanted to really do is look at Bloodlines more, the last one, and look at it in context of everything. And we know we've got another one coming out, apparently in 2028, according to this. Final Destination 7. And I'm thinking, because I thought we had a perfect ending, didn't we? When it all went full circle. It's Final Destination 5. I thought that was it. Brilliant. We don't perhaps need any more. But then Bloodlines came along, and I was skeptical, but I thought, oh, I'll watch it. And it turns out to be a good film. And we learn all sorts. We even learn about Tony Todd's character, about him when he was a little boy, and it was just amazing. Actually, to be fair, the sadness when you watch Bloodlines is for Tony Todd, but he has a nice farewell anyhow. It's almost like it's his wonderful farewell that he gives. He doesn't look that way. He's very thin, and he knew obviously that he didn't have that long left, but it's really good. But taking away from that, the films still stand up well, so I'm looking forward to that. But I've got quite a long way. But if they keep up the standard and ideas, then it's still another good series that can keep going. So I'm just hopeful, I always enjoy. I know people think, what's your favorite one? I don't know. I have a few favorite ones, but I do like, I think, the Funfair one a lot. The Funfair one is just so good with the roller coaster, and I something about that one I really like. But they're all pretty good. I know people maybe think perhaps it is the one with the race, the cars going round is perhaps maybe not quite as good. But even that, looking at it again, has got some good stuff in it, which I quite enjoyed. Like the black guy who's like involved is quite interesting. The way they sort of use his character and trick us is good. And there's some good kills in it, But yeah, I really love them. So that's quite a chunk. So I've only got one more film that I watched, and this one, it's just something I watch every so often because I know how good it is, and it's one of, I would say, Hammer's best film, and there are quite a few in contention. Not just Hammer as a. If you look at it overall, if you was to pick top horror films lists, I'm sure this will be in that list. It will definitely. It might not be number one, but I think it would be in the top 10. Some people may already know and think it's this one. It's The Devil Rides Out from
Ah, yeah.
1958. This is just absolutely amazing. I mean, what a film. And it's also interesting that this is an adaptation written by Richard Matheson, as well. And it's the only one that was a Dennis Wheatley story. Now, Dennis Wheatley, I don't know if people know that. I remember when used to go into bookshops, and this was probably in sort of early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And all you'd see is Dennis Wheatley books. There were loads of them. Do you remember them? Just seeing them, there were just loads.
Yeah.
And this is the only adaptation that Hammer did of any of his stories. But what a good one. What a great one. And of course, it's directed by Terence Fisher. Who else? Terence Fisher. If you look at Terence Fisher, he always seems to direct the best Hammer films virtually. He is just great. And another thing about this is that it's 1929. Again, which is unusual for Hammer because we've been getting majority, of course, a sort of gothic Hammer horror. There has been a few, like The Witches, for instance, which were more contemporary. But this is, it's 1929, and it's brilliantly. And the cast, of course, you got Christopher Lee, and Christopher Lee in this is really, I think he's very good. He's got a great performance. He's a good guy. You could say actually he's like a man who knows loads of things. A very knowledgeable man, knows all about occultism, and I suppose you could say he's a practitioner. Very, very good in it. I just love seeing Christopher Lee in this. And then the guy who's the villain is Charles Gray, and he plays MacArthur, who's, again, what a performance. That evil that he portrays as this character, as the leader. Now, Charles Gray is in one of my favorite James Bond films, but it's not a big one, which is big performance. But You Only Live Twice, 1967. But he's also in Diamonds Are Forever, where he played Blofeld. Diamonds Are Forever, 1971. And of course, he's in one of my other favorite films. He's in Cromwell. Yes, he's in Cromwell. 1970, he plays Earl of Essex, which is quite an important part in the Civil War. And then, to top it all, I think he is in Theatre of Blood, and so many actors and actors just in Theatre of Blood, 1973. Absolutely brilliant. And like so many, he carried on, and it was like obligatory. You had to appear in a Agatha Christie film, so he's in The Mirror Cracked, 1980. Then we've got a French actress called, now, you know my French. I think this is Nike Aragi. I don't think so. Aragi. Yeah, Aragi. That sounds more Italian. But anyhow, Nike Aragi, who plays the sort of female lead character called Tanith Carlyle. And she is, as I say, a French actress. Not many films, really. She's had more sort of a few TV, but she didn't do a great deal. Excuse me. Women in Love, 1969. Countess Dracula, which I love, Ingrid Pitt, 1971. And a film I've not seen, but it gets mentioned a lot, is Sunday, Bloody Sunday, 1971. So that she's in that one. And then we've got as Leon Green, who plays this Rex Van Ryn or Ryan character. And for some reason, sometimes Hammer did this, they dubbed voices, and his voice has been dubbed by Patrick Allen. Patrick Allen, yes, the recognizable voice of so many things. And of course, at one time, he was appearing in these early Hammer films, Patrick Allen. Now, apparently, Leon Green had a sort of quite a history. He was in Carry On, Don't Lose Your Head, 1966, Carry On Henry, 1971, Four Musketeers, 1974, Royal Flash, 1975, The Adventures of a Plumber's Mate, 1978, I think that is. Or 76, I think 76, 78. That's those. They came after the Confession films. They did all these sort of sex comedies. But he was also in Flash Gordon, 1980, and The Return of Musketeers. I've done a lot of Musketeer stuff in 1989. Then we've got a face that I recognise, Patrick Mower, who plays Simon Aaron. Patrick Mower is more known for TV, I think. He was in Cry of the Banshees, 1970, Percy, 1971, To Catch a Spy, 1971. He was in Carry On England, which is perhaps one of the worst Carry On films. Not quite the worst, but I'd say Carry On England is pretty bad. It really is. And he was also in something called The Asylum, 2000. Not The Asylum that I like, but interestingly enough, Colin Baker was in it with him. So there we are, and Ingrid Pitt. But it doesn't seem to get very good write-ups. But for me, I remember seeing his face in a series between 1973 and 74 called Special Branch. So that's how I saw him. I think it had George Sewell, I think, with him in that. But apparently, I don't know nothing, but he's apparently is a regular in Emmerdale from 2000, it says here. So I've no idea. But there is an interview with him as an extra, but apparently he's in that anyhow. And then we've got another face that I totally recognise, and I think a lot of people do. If you're a certain comedy show, which was great, Paul Eddington, he plays Richard Eaton. I've never seen him really, apart from as in The Good Life, and of course, Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister, which are brilliant, absolutely superb. He was a great actor. Sadly, he died, I think, quite early, really. It's very sad to see him, Paul Eddington. Really good. And he's in it and plays quite a good role in it. It's quite a good role. So this is set for Hammer in 1929, which is quite unusual, to say, for them. And what happens is that Christopher Lee, who plays this Duke de Richelieu, he comes to investigate what is happening to his son of a late friend. He has this sort of figure. And we see him who arrives in one of these sort of planes, which is of the sort of late 20s, sort of a biplane, which is it's just quite a nice start to the film, just adding that contemporary of that time feel to the series. And the car as well is riding in. Oh, really good stuff. It's all good stuff. But anyhow, basically, what's happened is that the character played by Patrick Mower has got himself involved in this occult group, who are worshipping the devil, to put it bluntly, and they're all led by MacArthur, Charles Gray's character, and Christopher Lee soon comes along, sees all sorts of things, symbols, and where it's all going on, and he ends up having to fight this leader who are doing sort of he sees these ceremonies. They go and spy on one of the ceremonies, and we lead to various confrontations, and it's extremely well filmed. I think here is where we really should praise Terence Fisher. I always say he's one of the great directors that doesn't get talked enough about. But if you're into Hammer, you know who he is. He's such a good director. And this film, I think, rightly has its place as a great horror film, not just a Hammer film. And it's tends to be, I've seen lists, and it's always usually in the top 10. It's always in the top 10. It's so good. This, if you haven't seen this film, it's one I really, people should see this film. It's beautifully done. I say Terence Fisher's direction and all the acting, it's believable, and even the special effects, which are sort of done in a, there's no budget. There's no budget at all, but they create some brilliant special effects, especially when we see this figure conjured up, this sort of evil, sort of demon character. Really well done. It just they conjure it up with smoke and stuff. I don't know how they did it, but they did it really well. And I just can't, this, I'm sure this will get one of those special releases that you talked about. It has to, one day, somebody has to do a really good job on this, analyzing it, looking at it, and just talk. You'll get a special edition, and it'll be a long time, I reckon, before it comes out, because they haven't even got the Dracula one out yet, have they? But hopefully that's due soon. But this one, I rate it extremely highly, and I think a lot of people who know horror would put this definitely in their top 10. It's up there with the great films, and now and again, it's a film I just watch again because I love it so much. One, I can just watch it and just admire and enjoy how good it is. This is, so good. I rank it with my favorites. I rank it with Suspiria, The Exorcist, The Omen. Ooh. I put it up there. It's maybe not quite it's just behind them. And that is really tough because there's such a lot of great, horror films. I could just talk about the top 10 horror films of mine change a lot. They do change, but there are certain ones that are in there, and this is one that is always in there with The Exorcist and The Omen and Suspiria. But yeah, Hammer at its best, and you just can't help how good it is. It's just fantastic, and it's nice. I think I make no apologies. Sometimes you love certain films, and you just have to watch them and again every so often. I watch that at least every year, sometimes twice a year. I love it so much, In a way, it's kind of like with the Final Destination films I watch every year and sometimes twice a year as well because I love them. So I suppose this week has been more of a self-indulgent trip into things that I just enjoy watching that really I love, and I can just watch them anytime. Are there certain films that you perhaps, just love to watch and watch? It doesn't matter, What are your films that you like to watch? And I'll leave that up to anybody in chat as well. What are the films that you really love to just watch and watch? I'm inside out. You just love.
We all know my number one on that one, don't we? So,
God, give me your passion.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah. I know it
doesn't matter how bad people turn around, the slow motion picture, but the booby prize, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter.
No, it don't.
I'll watch it a lot and get enjoyment out of it every time I watch it. And there's a lot of films that are critically acclaimed anyway. Blade Runner and stuff like that. So guilty pleasures that aren't very well received. I mean, The Three Fugitives is one. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is another.
Yeah.
And some of those are remakes.
Yeah.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is a remake. I think people know my Hitchcock stuff.
Yeah. You can just watch them when you feel like it again.
Yeah. Planet of the Apes is up there.
They're kind of comfort movies to us. You know them and love them, and you just have to revisit them. You just think, oh, I'm gonna watch that again. And that's why.
If I want to be cheered up, I'll watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
Especially if I want to be grounded, because there's a pathos in it. I do like a bit of pathos in a comedy.
Yeah.
You've got to have a bit of sadness. That's in there. But I do like the slapstick stuff. The oh my god, I can't believe that's happened type thing, which happens all the time in Planes. It was like, how much more can you throw at this guy? You know what I mean? But that's what makes it fun.
It's like my Christmas watches. I just have to watch them every year. They're just set there in stone, aren't they? It's just something that you just enjoy and have sort of comfort in.
It's really weird because here's one that's divisive. The Arthur films, Arthur and Arthur on the Rock.
I haven't seen them for years.
Now, not a lot of people talk about those. Arthur got a lot of attention when it came out.
It did. It was quite a big
probably
film.
Because of is it Gielgud? I think it was, wasn't it? He was the butler, wasn't it? Hobson. Hobson, is it? Was his name Hobson? I think it was.
Yeah.
And he died in that film. There's no, obviously spoiler, but I mean it's so old. It's 1981. But it was so loved that even the main theme got into the charts. Between the Moon and New York City, Arthur's theme, all of that sort of stuff. Not many people talk about the second one, probably quite rightly. It is a sad shadow of it, but there's some really interesting stuff in that. I mean, there's I remember that they were going to look at some apartments because he'd lost all his money.
That's right.
It's said, and I've told this story before. It always stays in my mind. They went because A, it was cheap, and B, because it had ILM in every room. No, IOL. That's it. IOL in every room. And everybody was going, why have they've mentioned this several times? What the bloody hell's IOL? And it's instant on lighting.
Oh.
You're going, oh yeah, look at this. Look, I flick the switch, it's nearly instant. Bloody hell, he's not lying, and I'm going, bloody hell. It tells an interesting story. A drunk trying to do better, get money. He's been a spoilt brat all his life. This is where he is. He's only got his wife that knows what poor is like, and she's trying to have a baby and they can't, and all of this sort of stuff. There's pathos, you see. This is where I'm talking. There's pathos in it. And Arthur probably had a little less of that because really it was all about, he didn't really want to marry, what was her name? Susan Johnson. Is that her name? Yeah. The names are coming back to me. Susan Johnson, I'm pretty sure that was. And, he wanted to go out with this girl who basically was stealing a tie, I think it was, from from a shop that he was in at the time, and that's all there is to the story, really. It's not got a lot. And it's a good film. That's where I'm saying, who talks about Arthur anymore? You know what I mean?
At the time, it was massive, as I remember. It was everywhere. It was everywhere.
So that's an interesting one. And there's a lot of backstory to that one as well, because obviously he split from, Peter Cook.
Yeah.
They fell out for years. His American star was shining, because they'd just done 10, which I didn't think much to, and then Arthur, and, yeah. Was that a Blake? Is that a Blake Edwards film? No, it's directed by her husband, isn't it?
It's not very good film, is it?
No,
as I remember 10.
Famous for her and the Bolero.
The
sex scene at the end with Bolero, which
she was
can't really say too much.
Kind of an overrated.
Yeah, it's her husband, I think, who directed that.
There was a lot more attractive actresses as well, and were good actresses as well.
She went on to be in Greystoke, was she? I think, or Tarzan. Anyway, it was a Tarzan film.
I didn't really get on with her much, really. I thought she was overhyped, and
But so it's nice. It's nice that we can sort of like mention and go, oh yeah, I forgot all about Arthur. That sort of stuff. Amazing how that came into my mind. There you go.
Yeah, and it's interesting, the sequels as well. Some films you probably forget. You think, oh, did that have a sequel?
Yeah.
And there is
the Odd Couple's got a sequel. Odd Couple 2, not particularly a great film, but it's. I still find that one funny, but it's the original one to me is the one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
We've done it again. I'm going to mention it. Why does he always get a mention? But it's my fault. His Mugman movies. He's done one on sequels, hasn't he? He's just come out.
Oh, has he? I watched it. I watched his short on Odyssey, and
he's done his sequels.
And oh my god, I'm stuck in a loop buying lots and lots of films, but I haven't seen anything after that. So there's another one. Sorry,
you watched that his sequel one. Actually, it was actually interesting. About the sequels. Definitely.
There we are. Bloody advertising him again, the bastard.
No, I didn't mean to, but but I think it's true that a lot of sequels just disappear, don't they? There's so many that just disappear. And then of course you discover that loads went straight to videos. So I think, my God, there's about 5 or 6 films, follow-ons with same title. That's how it was, wasn't it, in those days? They used to, the video market, they'd just carry on they'd have a title, and they thought, oh, we can just squeeze more and more money and just stick any crap out, and people, rent it. I suppose they'd rent it out and think, oh yeah, I'll rent that out, Arthur 10 or something, the 10th version of Arthur, and it'd be bloody awful.
Yeah.
Bad. But people watch them. Right. And let's get on with the comments then. So, right. We have got Si saying, evening gang, hello Si, welcome. And then we've got David saying, hello everyone. And then Tony says, evening Ian, Del, Si and David, welcome Tony. Always good to have you in. And then Si as well, hi David and Tony. And then David, hi Tony, Si and anyone I missed. And last night off work and watched To Send Help with the Wife. Watched Send Help with the Wife. Enjoyed it. All right. Well, that's
no. He watched a film called Send Help.
Yeah, that's it. Send Help. Yeah, it was good. Sorry, it's my reading, but yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that, David. And then Dot Sub Gaming says hello, Si, David, and Tony. And then Si says hi, Dot Sub, and Tony says hi, Dot Sub. And then Tony says, I'm still going through the extras on the Amma X the Unknown set, halfway through one on Joseph Losey. Oh, Losey, oh, what a director. He was initially meant to be the director, but was replaced by Leslie Norman. Oh, that's interesting. And then we've got Del. I tried to get tickets for View to see Spider-Man yesterday, and every showing sold out. Oh dear.
I
Oh
mean, I
yeah,
feel for you. I feel
yeah,
for you there, and all I can say really is that the buying public are sort of like shouting out loud and clear that they want to go and see this film. Um, and you will eventually get to see it. When you do, I hope you enjoy it.
yeah,
For me, I had to go and see a very, very early showing, and I'm glad I got around to seeing it, but so that I didn't have to keep avoiding a lot of shit on YouTube, to be quite honest. And now I can just look back at it and go, yeah, I had a really good time.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I look forward to being able to see it again, physical media, when it eventually happens. And yeah, I hope it does wonders for people wanting to go to the cinema. When they've gone to see that film, they might be thinking to themselves, what else is really good? You know, if they
mm,
haven't been for a long time, and that there might be quite a few of those sort of people that have gone to see this film. I don't know,
yeah,
but it's a great thing, I think, for families to go and see. You know, it's come out at a time where people are on school holiday now.
mm,
That might be another reason, because it is a 12A film. Um, I do wonder though sometimes that some children that might be going to see it might not understand it because of the dark nature of it. I would say it's not really for people that are, you know, kids that are 4 and 5.
no,
You
no,
know what I mean? But
yeah,
ages and 8 and up, maybe.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I was sitting next to a mother that had a child there, and he was really a polite kid, and I could hear sometimes going, "What does that mean, mummy?" and all of that sort of stuff. So I do realise that they're there because they love Spider-Man as a costumed character, but might not necessarily understand what he's going through. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
So it is that type of film, but it's all the better for being grounded and dark for
yeah,
me.
yeah,
For me, it could have gone a lot darker, but it's dark enough
yeah,
to
yeah,
go, yeah, that's touched upon. And I'd say the two major subjects are empathy and loss. They're the two major
mm.
things that you get from this film,
Oh, that's good.
without giving the game away. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
I will say the subject matter is questionable for young kids.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fine. Um, Tony says, Ian, I think you enjoy Lois. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Have you seen his film Accident with Stanley Baker and Dirk Bogarde? What a cast, those two together. So I have the DVD, but just seen it's getting a Blu-ray and 4K release next month. Oh, I
Wow.
might be able to, with a bit of luck, I might be able to get that, and I would do. If things work out how they're going, then I might be all right now to get some of these new releases. So I'd definitely be in for that. Two great actors. I want to get more Stanley Baker in my collection, and Dirk Bogarde. What an actor as well.
Yeah.
So good. So yeah, I'd be interested definitely, and it's a Losi film. Yeah. And then David says I should have booked a few days before. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Sai says,
I just hope you do get to. That's all I
yeah.
can say, David. And when you do, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. You know, you come out with some very interesting
Yeah.
comments.
And
I'd
look
like
at
to.
Sai. He says, I'm going to watch Brand New Day again on Friday in 3D.
Wow.
3D version of it.
Are you gonna go and see an IMAX version of it as well? That'll be your fourth time, won't it? I mean,
Yeah. Oh, right. Um, and then we've got Dote Subgaming. Can I ask anything, Ian Dell? As a child, what was your favourite ice lolly? Also, did you ever get in a playground fight at school? And what item was the very first thing you bought with your
Oh,
first wage. Blooming heck, some
that's
interesting
interesting.
questions there. Ooh. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I don't mind. You carry on. Go on.
Okay. Right. My favourite ice lolly was because I think of the free little the picture cards, which was
Is that
Zoom.
why you asked me that question?
Yeah, do you remember I was asking that? And the reason I linked it as well, which you didn't get, was that the first cards I got were Patrick Troughton fighting the Daleks, and they Zoom did these Dalek cards, and they must have been late 60s. They would have been when Patrick Troughton was the Doctor, and they were fantastic. Absolutely um, blew my mind. And they were in Zoom. There was one called Zoom, um, and it was like in the shape of a sort of rocket kind of thing. It was brilliant. That's how I remember. But like Delboy mentioned, Thunderbirds, and I think there were some Thunderbird ones as well, because Thunderbirds was big era. But for me, it was always I was so excited getting some Doctor Who, and I know if you go on eBay now, people are charging an absolute fortune for these cards. If anybody has these cards, they're worth a lot of money. But yeah, I do remember having a few.
Because I did happen to mention that I thought I couldn't remember if I had Zoom or not, because the whole idea of cards inside lollies was starting to be phased out.
Yeah, this is
In
more
the 70s.
60s. Yeah, it was definitely more 60s thing, I think. As
But I do remember that there were
yeah,
lollies with cards in, so I must have bought a Zoom, and it must have been mid 70s, because I wouldn't have been able to have bought a lolly by myself that early in
yeah,
life, and
yeah,
I was born late 60s. So
yeah. Also, there was another thing which again went totally out, but we had them then, which was little packets of cigarettes, which was that they did look like cigarettes. They had like the red end,
oh
and
yeah,
we phased those out
yeah,
because
but they had
suddenly they realized,
they had those into the 80s.
yeah, and they had cards in. You could get little cards
Ah,
inside those little cigarettes. I remember collecting them as well, and yeah, and of course the tea bags was Brook Bond PG Tips. They had loads, and they do like historical ones. Like you could get sort of Henry VIII and all his wives, and then you'd get other kings and queens of England. They were all on these things, and you get a little book. You could buy a little book, and then put these
yeah,
cards in the book. Also, I remember another. They had some space ones. They had like loads of satellites, which I've got somewhere, but I can't relate.
yeah. You showed those off in one of your
Oh
videos.
right, yeah. So they all um, were of that era. It's a fascinating thing. And then the other thing was, I think it was Thai Fu when I was got into football. They did like these football. They were more like sort of large pictures, and they were about this size. And you get so many, and then you could send off, and you get these through the post. These giant sort of pictures of your favorite, and they had all the favorite footballers at that particular time, which was great. So that was tea bags and Thai food tea as well. And then you had to cut the back off of the Thai food tea. So I mean, we kept changing teas because I'd be going, "Oh, I want this tea. I want you to like this tea," because they're doing this and that. And my mum got fed up, I think, in the end. Said, "No, we're not changing tea." But yeah, um, I that's how it was. Just one of those things. But the lollipop thing, yeah, that was really good. Ripping it off and getting the card inside the lollipop. Um, yeah, brilliant. I enjoyed that. So that's my. Did I get into any fights at school? No, I kept out of trouble. I was one of these kids who weren't. Who always felt that it was safer just to blend in the background, just keep out of the way. And when I got older, of course, it was different. I'd get my own friends who we all had the same interests, same geeky kind of interests together. But when I was younger, that young, I always learned that just don't get involved, and that's the way to stay safe because there were fights. You didn't want to stick out. You'd always have the bullies who were, like they're asserting themselves, and best is just not to get them, just so they don't notice you. That was the way. And other people did it with humor. I remember one kid to stop getting picked on. He used humor, and that worked. So it worked either way. But yeah, I remember the bullies. They'd have the henchmen with them going around. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. So, but I never got into any fights. And what did you buy with your first wage? I can't exactly remember, but I think I would have been. Yes, I went to Virgin Records, the old Virgin Records, and bought some LPs. Yeah, because that's what I used to do. LPs straight away. I had a massive record collection at one time, and I'd just buy new releases. And the Virgin Records was like in a sort of old little shop, and it was quite a hippie kind of shop before it all went, sort of corporate. There was one in Leeds that I used to go to and love it. Absolutely love the Virgin Records there. Yeah, so that's and hopefully that's answered your question. Delboy, what do you think then? Answering that question.
Ooh, well, I mentioned quite a few lollies on Sunday, but my sister mentioned one that when I think back to it, I went, "Oh yeah, I remember that, the lolly gobble chop bomb," which I liked. But I must admit, I did have things like fab lollies and all that sort of stuff. But I used to like going to a local park around here called Avon Dasset Hills, and they had an ice cream van that used to go up there. And I used to like the 99s, the ice cream with a flake.
Oh, yeah.
All that. And sometimes I'd have what they call a screwball, which was an ice cream with a gobstopper or chewing gum at the bottom. Because I always thought, well, at least when I've got the ice cream done, I've got a sweet I can chew. So that was quite good. I thought that was quite clever because my sister would sometimes she'd have those ice cream sandwiches. The ones where there was two nougat type things.
I remember those. You buy
which I found very messy to eat. And I think so did my mum and dad because they'd always have to wash the clothes after we'd been up there, and it was either covered in dirt or covered in ice cream. So, there is that. So there's plenty there to talk about when it comes to ice lollies. And of course, I always avoid the second one because I was bullied, and most people know that I was bullied. So I couldn't avoid it. There was nothing that I could do to avoid it. It didn't matter how fast I tried to run home, no matter how much I kept in the background and tried not to do anything. You got caught, and as soon as you got caught, you were the one to get pressured onto. So, yes, that happened, and it's funny when you mention about your first wage, and I suppose I was in a YTS. And I know that I had to give my mum a certain amount of money. I dare say the first thing I bought with my wage was sort of like a bag of chips or something, or bought myself a can of pop or something from the newsagent to walk home with. But if we're talking major purchase, I know I saved up for 3 weeks and 4 weeks, and I bought myself. I swapped out my black and white portable for a color.
Oh, yeah.
So this was back in a time where you could buy a color TV for about 70, 80 quid. My YTS, I think I got £26 or something. So it was definitely 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I didn't have to give my mum too much, but I did. Give her money. And then after I bought the telly, I gave her more. You know, it's just I wanted.
Yeah,
I think my mum allowed me to have something because I was working for the first
yeah,
time, and it was unfair to take a lot of money in the first few weeks. But then
yeah,
she, you know, after that, it's like, oh yeah, you need to start bringing some cash in. You know, food for the table and all of that sort of stuff. That's why you left school. It's why you couldn't go to college, was because my grades just weren't that high enough, and we need, you know, money was tight. You
mm,
know, my dad was working all sorts of shifts at the local factory. My mum was working where she could in a sandwich making shop. So, and my sister got a job at the end of her YTS, and I didn't. So,
right, yeah,
so there's 18 months between us. So, of
mm,
course, me going into a YTS meant get money in. You know,
mm,
simple as that. So, yeah, I think when we talk major purchase, yeah, I bought. I'm pretty sure I bought a colour telly. I know that. Swapped it out for my black and white one, and I because I remember enjoying that. I went, yeah, I've got a colour telly in my room. Yeah,
yeah.
so I do remember that. Yeah, the good, interesting question. That. Sorry that I tried to avoid the middle bit, but
No, it's all right.
some
Yeah,
happy memories in the rest.
yeah, yeah. But it was exciting, wasn't it, when you opened your wage slip and thought, "Wow, I've got this money," and then you suddenly think, "Oh, why have they taken this money off national insurance and tax?"
I must admit, mine went into my bank account. I had to
Yeah,
open a bank account specially for it.
yeah, yeah. You did, yeah, yeah.
So there was no wage packet.
Yeah,
The only time I got a wage packet, and that only had a sheet of paper in it, was
oh,
when I didn't get a YTS. You know, I get a job at the end of the
yeah,
YTS. To get money for Christmas, I worked in a supermarket, getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning to do
yeah,
the fruit and veg in this supermarket. I think it was Summersby or something like that. I can't remember.
yeah,
Um, and they gave you a wage slip, you know, a brown envelope with a wage slip inside there. But there was no money.
yeah,
Again, it put into my bank account, but it did tell me what I got.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny because now you've brought it back. I did get a wage packet when I worked after school. I worked at Morrison's, so as soon as school had finished, I went over to Morrison's, which was right opposite, and worked there for till about 8 o'clock at night. And you got a wage packet. You had to go in. I remember going, and there was this woman. She had these sort of like this big drawer, and all in were money, all these wage packs, and there was people desperate, looking around, and
Yeah,
there you are, and you got it, and you opened it up, and there was there a wad of money with a pay slip as well, and everybody be counting it and thinking, "Oh God, I'm rich," and then I've got to pay that, and pay that off, and but yeah, it was a good feeling actually having a wad of cash. Yeah, I remember that. That was really enjoyed it. And the good thing at first, I think as a schoolboy, I didn't hardly paid any tax. It was when you started off, you were allowed to earn so much. So at first, I don't think I paid hardly any. It'd be just national insurance. I think it would that's all I'd pay. But then when you earned more, and I think you started to have to pay tax. But I didn't mind out. It helped finance my record collection. I mean, I was buying albums every week.
yeah.
Going and buying loads.
Just going to give my mum a cup of tea. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So I absolutely was just really happy to have all that money. My record collection just it spiraled, and it gave you an opportunity to listen to loads of different music that already by then I'd started to listen to things that were not chart based. So I was listening to like prog rock and stuff like that. Yes, Yes, particularly, I absolutely loved. And then, of course, punk new wave came around, and then I was buying all punk singles, all had picture covers, and then started buying the punk albums, which went into new wave and then indie. So I was buying all that. And yeah, earlier I would buy these sort of Led Zeppelin, heavy rock stuff, and then soul, maybe Dinah Ross and Stevie Wonder. Yeah, Stevie Wonder had some really good early albums, which I enjoyed. Talking Book and all that sort of stuff. It was great because you just widened your musical taste and just get to like everything, you know. Some stuff maybe not as much. It's like I like Bob Marley, but I didn't go any further into reggae. I think reggae got a bit. It was probably a bit much. Thank heavens there was no rap or anything I did those days, so I wouldn't have been buying any of that. And I haven't got any now, and I won't buy a rap. But some people really enjoy rap music, but it's not really my thing. But I tried to like as wide a range of things as possible, and then I started to get into some jazz stuff, which I started to like, and then bits of classical even. I started to get into that. So you change, it sort of changes, I sort of heard these Mozart things. And I thought, oh God, Mozart could do a tune, and I got into all that. So it was a wide thing, which I enjoyed. And it's exciting when you get that first wage slip and you can just spend it. Gave my mum some money, though, because I was at school. My mum didn't really say, "Oh," she'd say, "Oh, you don't." I'd give her a little bit, but I didn't really need to give her that much. It was only when I got a full-time job that I would have done that. But by then I'd left home, so I was down here. I was living down here, and I didn't need to do that. What I needed was the rent for renting. But yeah, all good memories. Fortunately, I say I kept out of playground fights. I just blended in, and I know Delboy did get picked on, and it's just terrible. I just didn't want anything to do with anything like that, and just kept well away. But yeah, there are bullies are always around. I always feel sorry for kids who are having to deal with bullies, and I'm sure today there's still the same ones around, still kids doing the same awful things. But it's always good when they get put in the place. There's nothing more satisfying. That's why I like films like that. When people are put in the place, you get the bullies doing all sorts, and you can't beat it, can you, when they get put in the place? I like revenge films, all that kind of stuff. There's something very satisfying about when people get their comeuppance. Yeah, I know. Let's carry on. Oh, he's gone, but he's here, just in time. So, size question, which I've just clicked to. Del, what's your thoughts on Frank Castle in the new Spider-Man film? I thought he was brilliant in it.
It was it was very enjoyable watching those two in it, and I thought it was done very, very well. And after the film, I did get to see the little Punisher mini film that Disney brought out, and I could understand about the language. I thought they handled it quite well. As a character, though, Frank Castle, the Punisher, didn't really expand upon him too much. Maybe that was a good thing, actually, thinking about it. In the comics, the Punisher was introduced as a vigilante, a gun for hire. And they didn't mention this either in the film, that when he shot people, most of the time he fired out something called mercy bullets. Mercy bullets didn't kill. They weren't lethal. But he did on occasion use lethal force. That's where the battle van comes in and all the different guns he's got and all of this sort of stuff. So they were at odds against each other. And as we find out the backstory of Frank Castle, there's more empathy from Spider-Man because he understands loss. Probably more than any other superhero, he probably understands loss a lot more. And Frank Castle is a story of loss, which is touched upon in the film because he's got a shrine in the background. Not that doesn't give any spoilers away. He's just got a little shrine and he's very protective of it. But how they handled Frank Castle in a fun way, and and there's a major bit a little bit later on that I thought was handled quite well as well without giving anything away. It's towards the end of the film. And yeah, what can I say? The bits that were fun were the quips, and Spider-Man is a well-known quick-witted thing, and they seem to have a sort of like a healthy sort of rivalry, like, oh, I saved you, come on, you owe me one, all this sort of thing going on, and he calls him a kid and all of this sort of stuff, and you're immature and all of this sort of stuff. What do you know about love and all of this sort of stuff? It's handled really quite well because it touches upon other things that the audience knows, but not necessarily does everyone. So they touch upon these things, and it's like an in joke. Do you see what I mean? What do you know about love, kid? And yet we know about MJ in the 4 years and all of this sort of stuff. Do you see what I mean? So that's where I'm saying this hits quite a few good high point levels. And Frank Castle is definitely a high point level.
Oh, that's good.
In the film.
Yeah.
And I hope that doesn't give too much away.
No, I think it's all right. So says, Delboy can spoil Spider-Man as much as he wants. I hate superhero films. I never want to see anywhere laugh out loud. And there you are.
Well, that's only one person out of how many?
And then Tony says, I like those multicolored lollies. Rockets, I think they were called. Oh, yeah, they were lovely. There was different ones. Yeah, they were great.
They had different rainbow flavored colors as they went down layered.
Yeah.
And they had those lovely ridges for the rocket.
And then Sally says, don't sub, my favorite ice lolly was a Zoom. Yeah, we mentioned. Yes, unfortunately, I was in a playground fight. His fists were in agony, and I bought an England 1990 football top with my first pay packet. Wow. Yeah. I wonder how much the tops were in 1990. Were they still equivalent as being very expensive as they are now? I wonder. Because, obviously with wages and things and that. But, yeah, it's wonderful. And then Don't Sub Gaming says, Spaceballs was funny. Yeah. And then Tony says, I'm glad I'm not the only one here, Don't Sub. I wouldn't say I hate superhero films, but it's not generally something I'd watch. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah.
It's why I understand the story behind superhero fatigue. But the thing that annoyed me was the amount of crap that they brought out, that they thought as an audience people would just be gullible to go and see because it's a superhero film. That to me doesn't work.
And it went against it, didn't it?
And it sort of irritates me an awful lot because because what you're saying then is we don't know our audience. You know what I mean? Because crap is crap, whichever way you look at it. So why do you think you can get away with it just because you put a superhero in it?
Yeah.
right? Crap is crap.
Yeah. Who's going to see a film Craven? I know nothing about
Yeah,
Craven, but they put it out.
they
Yeah.
they they knew, Sony, that they had to bring out something that would make them money, and they had to bring out a Spider-Man film at least one in 5 years. Otherwise, the rights go back to
Mm,
Marvel. And the only IP that Sony's really got of any worth is Spider-Man. They're a small. I mean, Columbia and Sony and all of that sort of stuff. They don't have franchises, IPs,
mm,
a huge amount of them. So they have to milk it, milk it. Yeah, that's
mm,
it. Really, it's word milk it.
mm,
They usually brought out these films at the time that there was a game coming out or something.
mm,
You know, you're not going to make your money on soundtracks. You know what I mean? People aren't buying those too much anymore.
mm.
Not since you've got Apple Music and Prime and all of that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. So at the end of the day, they thought to themselves, let's do a Craven film, let's do a Morbius film, let's do a Madam
Mm,
Web film. And from what I know of the history of it, they wanted to bring Spider-Man into every single one of those films, and Marvel declined them. No, you
mm.
can't do that.
Yeah.
So they had to bring them out with no Spider-Man in it, and that what they didn't
Yeah.
understand was therefore that this film wouldn't work then,
Yeah.
because Craven is a villain, Morbius is a villain of a sort. Madam Web is a fringe character that was introduced in the
Mm,
80s and not in the way that you saw in that, etc., etc. So it would, Venom. I don't know why that really worked, other than I think it was a curiosity at the beginning. The second one definitely didn't work. You know what I mean?
mm.
Carnage. And it just
Was
goes to show you that without Spider-Man in it, what has Venom got?
was Craven Jared Leto? Was it? Or
Yeah,
am I wrong
I
on
think
that?
so.
You see, that even made it worse, didn't it? Because he's got a lot of
Well,
stuff
he looked
going
really
on now.
good. He
Uh,
really bulked himself up and looked really good.
yeah.
His dad was Russell Crowe, I think,
Oh.
in the film. The Chameleon was in it as well, if I remember rightly. Do you know I've only ever seen Craven once?
I'm not
Watched
seeing
it,
it.
went
Yeah.
it was one and done. I went,
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
interested in
Was
going
that
back to
bad?
that.
Oh dear.
They brought in some other villains, like Rhino was in it, I think. And Rhino was portrayed as a person with a skin disease.
Oh
That's not like the comics. Do you see what I mean?
no.
The Rhino was a Russian in a baddie type thing in a battle suit,
Yeah.
and the radiation treatment adhered the skin to his
Yeah.
the suit to his skin for a time anyway,
Yeah.
and was more a Hulk villain in the 70s.
Mm.
And that's because he was very powerful with that rhino horn and charging and all of that sort of stuff. But he was in the Craven film.
Yeah.
Going, why?
Do you think these films are worth looking at if they're £1 or something in a charity shop, or are they that bad that you won't bother?
Any film I think is worth £1 of your money, because at least you can go take it back to the charity shop and say, well, at least I gave them £1 and they got it back to sell again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd look at anything like that. And how many times did we rent a film out not knowing what it was like from a video rental store, and then go, wow, that was a waste of time. I'll never get that time back. We used to say to ourselves and all of that.
Says that,
but I don't think any of us look back and say, yeah, I paid £3.50 to rent that out for a night. What a piece of I mean, anything, and it looks back and regrets what they've really rented.
No, you're right. If it's £1, you can just take it back, can't you?
Well, yeah.
What's £1? Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and a lot of these things will end up in those places, Keks or Sex, whatever it is, and charity stores. And I always turn around and say, these charity stores, when you see them for £1 and all that sort of stuff, they're great because you can use them like rental stores.
Yeah.
Why don't you feel good about yourself? Go down there,
Yeah.
pick up a load of films that you want to watch them. If there was one that you really like, you know that you can keep it. If there's one that you don't like, take them back to the shop next week, give them these, and then go and buy another 5 out of it and treat it like a rental store. They don't care.
I wish more charity shops. I mean, we talked about it, didn't we? I think other previous weeks. It's British Art Foundation have come into a lot of criticism because they're looking on eBay now and seeing what the prices of these films are going at, which is defeats the whole process for me of a charity shop. You don't want to go into a charity shop and be paying £10 for a film.
Yeah,
and they've been doing that. I've seen it. They've shown it happening, and that's bad. I think that defeats. What's the point of a charity shop doing that?
Yeah.
But then, of course, you get the other people who make a living out of reselling. So they're going into these charity shops with the phones and checking what the prices are, grabbing them for £1 or even less, in a bunch, and then selling them for what is it? £10 or more. It's what they do. I'm not. If they want to do that, that's fine. But I still think.
Well, I put that down usually to the charity shop really not knowing what they're putting on their shelves because they could have easily have put it at the price that.
But
eBay,
that's how you want it.
All they have to do is go on eBay and have a little look and see what people are selling these things.
But there was a time, I think, when they weren't doing that, were they? You know, they were just putting it on, and people were getting genuine bargains. And
because what you're doing by doing that, but you're giving the charity the money that they wanted to sell it at in the store.
Yeah.
The person then takes it to get sex, and they get the film to resell, and it will go to the price that it should be at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which means all you've done really is transfer the film from one place to another.
Yeah.
If the person keeps it, then they've got it in their collection and they got a bargain. If they take it to Kex, then they get the credit and they get to buy something that they really want from sex.
That's how people.
So everybody really wins.
Yeah. What's his name? Jim Jam, of course. I mean, that's how he does his business, isn't it? Really, that's how he does it. Picks up these things, takes them and gets a voucher, and then can get something that he really wants.
So he gets what he wants. The film is still available for somebody else to go and get, but it's at an inflated price a little bit. And the charity shop got to sell it at the price that they wanted in the first place. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put it out on the price that they did they? So at the end of the day, nobody's being hurt, really. No,
that's right. No, I think it's fair enough to do it. Yeah, I think it's, right. Let's have a look. Don't Sub Gaming says, great. Thank you, Si. And Tony York says, Snap Del X the Unknown. Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah.
The Hammer ones, I really do look forward to, the big box presentation ones.
Yeah.
I've not been disappointed by any of the ones I've bought so far.
Yeah, well, that's David says X the Unknown is quite expensive for one film. I get that totally.
It is. I think that they're £10. They're £10 more than they should be.
Yeah.
But I'll put up with that.
But they can argue, I suppose, if they've done full restorations, they've had to go through all the negatives. They've gone through all that. Then they've recreated new documentaries. You've got to make new extras, new documentaries, pay people to do that.
The printing of the booklets, all of that sort of stuff.
There's quite a lot involved there, isn't there? You've got to pay people to do these things. Documentaries don't just suddenly come.
In fact, I would go to the point by saying that the tier below these deluxe sets is probably more expensive than what they are, because they're like $39.99, and they're nothing more than slipcase covers of stuff, and you get less with those, but you're but you're paying nearly 40 quid for them.
Yeah, I don't like that with the idea that you're having to pay for because slip covers have become the thing. They're like cashing in on that, aren't they?
Yeah,
Charging more 'cause it's got a slip cover, which is wrong.
yeah.
They were just part of it originally. But
Things are overpriced.
yeah,
We have to turn around and say things are overpriced. Their reason for it is the market is so shrinking that we have to get the same amount of money for the less units that we pull out. So we get the same amount of money back
yeah,
in, knowing that the audience is shrinking.
yeah. And
So
they might
they put the
argue,
price up to keep the money coming in at the
yeah,
same rate that they got. So
they could argue that they can't do any more if the sales are going down. They'll think, well, it's not worth doing anymore.
yeah,
So they could end up stopping. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's like I know we always do talk about Doctor Who, but I've got to mention this. I think it's interesting what's going to happen with Doctor Who because I
yeah,
think the special box sets that we really like are going to become extremely slow coming out, rare. They may even stop. They may stop them. It is possible because they're going to be too expensive, and the wait for them coming out is going to be at least another year. I mean, it's already happening. They're slowing down, but I understand there's a lot of costs involved. There is to put these together.
yeah.
It is expensive for them, and they pass it on. It's just how far I think people are prepared to pay. How much are people prepared to pay? Um, and I think a lot more people probably in the end with Doctor Who ones now say, well, I'll wait until the more standard edition comes out.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that. Because the standard edition, I think, still has the extras on. So
it does.
yeah,
The discs are identical. The booklet is less so.
yeah,
And the packet and the eco packaging is,
yeah, and
drops to what people can really afford.
exactly, yeah. Because you go on.
Nobody's putting a gun to anybody's head and
No.
saying, "Buy me! You got to buy me!"
Yeah, it's depressing. I understand why, because they go on eBay and see these people who are charging ridiculous prices if they want to get hold of these, special editions. And you think, I'm not paying that. I might as well wait. The problem is the wait has been a long time. I think, it could be up to a year maybe waiting for a normal edition to come out. But that's how it is. And increasingly, once they've released all the Peter Davis ones, I think, and the Tom Bakers, I think they'll virtually stop. I think it's sad. We've just got that one William Hartnell one, but we're going to be waiting years. I think, if ever they'll come out. Anyway, we'll see what happens. They are nice, but we've got to accept that they're not going to be all. I don't think we're going to get a full series of a full set.
Yeah.
And then Tony says, it is Davies, I agree. I did get it as I just had it on DVD. It's my first of these new Hammer box sets I've got. In my opinion, it is worth it due to the hours of extras and 120 page book, etc. Well, that's a good point,
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel you're getting the value for money and all that has been done, then that is a good buy, because
it's pretty much what I said, which was I pre-ordered it. It came through. I could have cancelled that pre-order. It fits in with my other big box versions of Hammers that I've been buying along because it is sort of linked to Quatermass.
Yeah.
In a sort of a way. But it's got a deluxe box and it's spot glossed writing. I don't know if I can show it off again. There we are. I don't know if it shows up. There you go. Look, it is sort of like debossed slightly. Look, with silver etched, with Hammer written on it. It's a very nice hard.
Yeah.
case. You know, I mean, we are talking pretty deluxe.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm happy with that. I do know that they could go cheaper, and that they might get more sales from that, but they also might equally lose sales.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And they've got to really make sure that they can continue with the series. They've got to do it. You know, if it doesn't sell, we won't get any more, will we? That it's as simple as that. It's economics. It's economics, whether we like
they've
it or
obviously they've obviously in this line separated what they consider to be something that needed the deluxe treatment and what didn't require a deluxe treatment, but equally is treated well.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Also, if you do just the deluxe, really expensive ones, there's a big gap between each one that comes out, which allows you to save to buy them.
Yeah.
But the ones in between also equally are good, and they're cheaper, and you can and to be quite honest, you're getting something then very regularly is what I'm trying to say.
And that's why I think the Dracula one is anticipated, and it will do well.
So, yeah,
it will do well. The people have been waiting for that one.
Yeah, what's that? It's 1958, isn't it, Dracula?
Yeah, it's the second. It could even be the third one of the Hammer releases, because the Curse of Frankenstein's the first one.
Yeah.
And I think,
and by the way, that is a gorgeous set.
Yeah, yeah.
That, I mean, is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever sold out, because I know that Kronos did.
Yeah,
Kronos was never likely to, because it was the first thing that came out from them.
Yeah, yes.
Not necessarily because it's a good film, but it was just it was their first, and everybody wanted to know what you were going to get in this deluxe set. You see what I mean? So it was a curiosity selling thing, because I don't think anything has sold out since. Every time I look at on their site, I see that's always sold out, and the others are still available.
They are. I think Curse still is. Yeah, yeah.
So it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
They must have gone, wow.
Yeah. But they have to release all these others. But that's what's going to happen. It's just going to be a thing, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And then Tony says, not sure if I'll get Abominable Snowman. I just have that on DVD too at the moment.
Yeah, we were discussing that. We discussed that, didn't we? We said that you had that on DVD, and I was assured that you were going to be sending that in the post to someone, not naming names.
But I think you have to make choices. It's true. You have to make choices, and sometimes you think, well, I'm happy with a DVD. I can watch the film when I want. Okay, you know, I don't need to pay that amount for a special editions. I think that's how you got to look at it. Unless the DVD is really bad quality.
Yeah.
If it's really terrible quality, I can understand.
Everybody has the choice and the mindset to go, is it worth the upgrade? Do I love it enough?
Yeah. That's right.
That's it, really, isn't it? Do I love it enough?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm stupid, me. I don't care. I put my hands up and go, I've been bloody stupid. How many copies of The Thing have I got? How many copies have I got of Star Trek the Motion Picture? How many? You know what I mean? It's the same bloody transfer. What are you doing? Right? You're getting nothing new. You're just getting cover art. Right? What the hell are you doing, you stupid song?
Yeah,
right? But that's the fun of collecting.
Yeah, being foolish. I think, it is true. Yeah, I agree. I don't know whether, I suppose if there's certain films that you just think, you know, like you mentioned Blade Runner, then you just have to do it, don't you? You've got no choice. That must be
the second or third. That must be the second or third film that I've bought so many times. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The Thing is definitely one. Star Trek the Motion Picture is another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Thing, And it's to me every time I buy it, I've never been disappointed buying it again. I've just gone great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is silly.
Hey, there's an example of the sequel being more popular and better than the original.
Yeah. You know when they're milking it, like
Yeah.
those Back to the Futures that came out.
Oh yeah.
They what were they? They individually sent them out at 50 quid a pop.
Forget it.
And it's the same transfers.
Yeah. That was.
And what did you get? I think a couple of lobby cards that might be different, and maybe one documentary different.
It's too much. Too much.
And
money.
it's 50 quid. But to a person that loves Back to the Future.
Yeah, and there are people who are obsessed
not a problem.
with the future. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I'll never belittle someone because of their hobby.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I bought them individually as steel books. I bought them as a box set once of steel books inside a special case. And I sold my Blu-ray editions because a Blu-ray came with a 4K. And they weren't steel books, they were normal packaged ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't sell them, actually. I sent them to somebody as a friend and said, you can have these, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
And I've still got the DVDs.
Yeah, yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. Back to the Future. And Back to the Future, like I say, is a perfect one where its fan base keep coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, 25th anniversary, 20th anniversary, bloody, you know, it's just going to keep on and on and on. That will never go away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Blade Runner, isn't it? That's never going to go away either. Right. Sai says, Rachel. What's that in connection with?
Rachel is the person that was in Blade Runner.
Ah, yes. It is. That's right. Yes, Rachel. That's her name. That's it. Oh, and here he is. McMahon Movies. Good evening, Farage and Binface. Oh, crikey.
Well, I think I'm Binface, I think, is probably.
Oh, dear. So, not Farage, but anyhow. Good evening, chat. And then Sai says, Binface for the win. Yeah, let's have a bit of Binface. Yay. And then Tony says, fairly sure I wouldn't bother if I already had the film on Blu-ray. Not get any of those Studio Canal reissues on 4K, as I have the full set on Blu-ray they released several years ago.
Yeah.
People understand that. Yeah, totally understand. And Tony says, evening, Jamie. Which one's
Farage?
Yeah. And then Tony says, vote for the bin, not the rubbish. Yeah, I get that one. It says, I'll let them decide. Yes. And then don't subgame in. You're right, Tony. Bin face for the win.
And it's Ian's channel, so I suppose really he should be bin face then, because I think you know that's the one that's getting the popularity contest here. And I would definitely say Ian would win on the popularity contest.
Yeah, and you don't.
But I tell you what, I'm quite disgusted because I do not like Farage.
No. I'll tell you what. I'll be nice. I'll save you from having to be Farage. You know. Oh dear. Now all I can imagine is Ari Hill saying "Fight!"
Fight!
Yeah. Wouldn't that be good? And then Tony says, "Oh, the black exploitation suggestions were useful, Jamie." Oh yeah, yes. And then Muckman Movie says, "Have you seen the Binface interview with Alistair Campbell and Rory? What's his name? It's hilarious and on YouTube." Oh, yeah. Brilliant. And David Marshall says, "I did buy the Eureka Folk Tales box set. That sounds really good, Tony. I love Hammer, but £50 a film, I'm not sure."
And this is where I'm saying I totally get that.
Yeah.
It is. It is a big investment, and to be quite honest, I've seen it at $59.99.
Yeah, I
That's
like the
60
sound
quid.
of those
That's when you have to go, ooh, hang on a minute.
Because they're kind of like the Wicker Man idea, sort of, and I really like that. But 50 quid, if you've got a spare 50 quid, yeah. But if you're on a budget and you can't, but that's how it is. And then Tony says, saw it advertised and not seen it yet. And then Sandy also, Del always, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's all right. I mentioned at the end what I thought about that comment.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make too much of a big thing on it, but
we'll just carry on.
You'll read out my comment at the end, and I still like Sandy. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just I think that just shows the personality of what I have to put up with sometimes.
Yeah.
But maybe other people do think I dwell on self-pity.
No,
I turn around and I just say, if you look at the definition of that, I am trapped a little bit.
But that's not self.
But I don't. But the one thing I've never said, and I will stick to this: my life is no worse than anybody else.
Yeah, yeah. And
right?
I'll tell you something.
What the definition of a self-pity is.
I've been through it all. I understand it. I do totally. I get it because I had it. Look after my wife. So, you know,
whatever you do, don't judge that person for what they do, because it all depends on how they see me. So and that person obviously has called me out.
If they're delusional and stupid, then there we are. That's all I'm saying. Delusional and stupid. Why make a comment like that? Just to it's pathetic. I'm sorry I get cross with it. It's just pathetic. Anyhow, let's see. And then says, howdy, Sandy, that's a bit rough. Yeah, we know it's just attention. Tony says, they're very well presented, David. If you see a film you maybe don't already, I would say it's worth it. Yeah, that's it. I agree. Twice. He says have, yeah. And then Sam says, I binged Android. I'm surprised I enjoy it. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's easy to watch Android.
Yeah.
And it was just lovely.
I don't think I finished what I was going to say about Android, because I said I've watched 2 episodes.
Yeah.
This is what I will say, I think, of Android. If you can get through the first episode and you get the humor, you're going to love the series.
Yeah.
If you get to the end of the first episode and you don't like it, I don't think nothing's going to change you in the end episodes, because I think the best episode is the first one.
Yeah, I loved it.
I did like that. She talks like you're talking to AI in ChatGPT.
She's brilliant.
Right? Some of the stuff that comes out is like you're talking to a robot, and the robot's talking to a computer, and these two are having a chat, and you're going, "You two are mental."
Yeah,
because the crap that comes out between the two, you might as well just endlessly just listen to them and just go, "You two, fucking hell."
But her acting performance is just absolutely fantastic. It really is. It's just wonderful. What a performance that is. I just love it. I just think and that don't often happen. That's what I mean. It's a new show, and I'm thinking, I don't normally go in for these things much, but I just saw maybe it just shows you that sometimes just seeing these shorts can be a good thing. Publicizing something, because I did it on the strength of the short. I clicked it, that looks good, so that's what I did. But yeah, it's Winemaker, definitely. And then Don't says not heard of it, and says I'm really enjoying Android. I love Diana Morgan.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I've come in here and I've said Diane Morgan, what a wonderful comedian she is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen her in Mandy, Philomena Kunk. She's been in Motherland. I've just watched them and I've just enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Because she's got this dry satire wit about it. And the some of the things she comes out with in the Philomena Kunk stuff is just comedy gold. You know,
Yeah.
about the Greenwich Mean Time line and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, how does time get trapped in a clock and all of this sort of stuff? She comes out
Yeah.
with. It's just brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. What can I say? Yeah. Well, you said something here nice. Well, at least I
No,
know.
that's just me just turning around and saying,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
shame because I really like this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I've got no
That's a
problems with
good.
it.
Yeah. That's a good response. Yeah. That's
And I
good.
think all it does is it just shouts out that that's the sort of thing that I get. You see, that's
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
in my life at the moment. You
Yeah.
know, it's a
Yeah.
shame, but
It is. It is.
maybe that is a portrayal of me. I
Yeah.
can't
Well,
fault it.
I just say if you there is an old train. If you're not, I know it almost sounds cliched, but I hear this a lot. If you've got no nice to say, then don't bother saying no. Why make a comment that's
Yeah,
just it's simple. It's
yeah.
simple. And then another film collector says, hello, hello, another film collector. Glad you joined us. And then so I says, don't. So if you're talking about Android, it's on BBC iPlayer. Yeah, you can binge it. It's so easy to watch. Just go sit there and watch it. Yeah.
It has got to 10 o'clock, so I've got to go and check on my mum, and then I'll be
Okay,
back.
that's fine.
I've got to get her to bed. You see, so
That's all right. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, I'll carry on. And then Muckman says, never seen Dan Morgan. Actually, I haven't in anything else. This was the first thing that I'd actually seen of her. And it just blew me away. I was so impressed. It was just nice to watch something that was quite touching and well written, well acted. And it's something a lot of people, I think, will relate to about loss and that and loneliness and what happens. And it just touched something, and if through comedy you can do that, that is fantastic, you know. And I think Delboy said it, but the best comedy also has a lot of pathos, and this certainly does. And her performance, I just thought it was great, absolutely wonderful. And then Terence says, hello AFC. And then Sai says, hi, AFC. Ian, you need to watch Philomena Kunk. Yeah, I've heard about her, Alter Ego. It's hilarious. And her take on her history, which I'm sure you would love. Yeah, all right. Brilliant. I might try and check that out. If it was on the iPlayer or something like that, I might well go and have a look at that. It possibly is then. Yeah. I was impressed with her, so I would definitely look at that. Yeah. And Sam says, I think anything Diana and Margaret did is so good. Excellent. Yeah. I've just discovered her, so I'm really pleased that. And then agreed, Sai. And then Tony says, I've seen some Philomena Clunk on YouTube. All right. And then interviews with historians are hilarious. Oh, God, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested with historians. And then Sai says, the only final destination I want is an origin to the premonitions and the meaning behind them. Well, I don't know. We might get one sometime. That would be good. And then the log truck scene in Final Destination is one of the best in the series. It is a good one as well. Yeah, I agree. It is one of the best. There is a lot of good ones that are well staged. Definitely. And then Sai says, I love that scene, Jamie. The whole setting on the freeway is brilliant. It is. Yeah, it is. I agree. That's where we get the traffic patrol guy, isn't it? The cop. He's introduced into the series in that film. Yeah, that's it. It's good. I always love there's something really reassuring about it, isn't there? I don't know what it is about that series. You know, you see how it's gonna be, and then you see how the rerun happens. It's just a clever series, you know, a clever idea, and it works well, and it's so easy to watch. I just find it easy to watch, and I must admit, Tony Todd always added that he wasn't in it much half the time, but when he's in it, it's just so good, and um, it's it's so sad that he's not going to be in anymore of them. Um, really, he was it was great. He just added something special. Um, and then Muckman Movie says, "Have you stopped looking at my King Kong now, son?" And then sighs, having a good laugh there. Uh, uh, Jamie, it's bloody beautiful. All right. It came all the way from Weta in New Zealand. I jumped on it as soon as I saw it online. Wow. Uh, I've not seen that. Have you got a video on that coming out? I've not seen it. I've been interested to see that. And then Tony says, "Watched Devil Rides Out last year for the first time. At least I didn't remember seeing it before. Highly enjoyable it is. It's just one of those things that all the magic came together of Hammer, and I think it's fantastic. I know I went on about it a lot, but it's just everything works so well. It's perfect. It's like Terence Fisher just it just brought everything together so well, and proved what a great director he is. You know, I always think of great directors, and I think of Terence Fisher, and he's just superb. I mean, that's the special effects in that they did, creating that demon. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely. Um, And it says, I was a little disappointed with The Devil Rides Out. I need to rewatch it. It's certainly not my favourite Hammer film. What's your favourite Hammer film, Jamie? With me, it is. I don't know what. I have a difficult time. I love Hammer, and I would put it high up. But I think, for instance, The Plague of the Zombies, I absolutely adore as well. And I have a job putting which I would put at the top. But then again, I like Dracula Prince of Darkness, the revamped Dracula 1966, which, dare I say it, I think I even prefer it to the original Dracula. The original Dracula is great, but the revamped one I just absolutely love. And then we could just go on to more and more. Hammer was very creative in what he produced. So there's all the Frankenstein films. I mean, which one do you pick of them? Obviously, The Curse of Frankenstein is a really good film, but there are other great ones down the line, and anything with Peter Cushing in is just going to be brilliant. So, what can I say? But I understand everybody's got different things. But I think The Devil Rides Out as well. I remember when I first saw it on the TV, I was just, wow, this film is it's just something about it. And the acting and everything about it, great. And then, oh, you prefer Plague of the Zombies? Yeah, well, I can understand it. Yeah, and of course, Doctor Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah, they're really good. I mean, what it shows to me is that Hammer have a lot of quality films, which is hard. I think if you ask me to pick my top 10 Hammer films, I'm struggling. I really am. Because there's so many good ones and underrated ones as well. Just brilliant. uh, what can I say? Ingrid Pitt counts as Dracula. I know it's corny in some ways, but it's brilliant. She is fantastic. That's one of those films I love. Rasputin, the Rasputin film. I mean, it's just that they had such a good run. And which Frankenstein film would I pick? I don't know. I even like the very last one, Frankenstein and a Monster from Hell, which is perhaps the most bloodiest one, the most graphic, with Peter Cushing working in this. It's with Simon Ward, and they're working in this mental asylum place, and it's just great. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Ah, and then it says, Tony says, I think I'm right in saying Charles Gray voiced over the last few films that Jack Hawkins made after he had surgery related to his larynx. Yes, you're right. You spot on there. He did, yeah. Because we forget that Jack Hawkins did carry on, didn't he? Involved in some films, and he had no voice. I think he had a voice box, didn't he? Didn't he have some sort? I remember sort of interviews, and I'm sure he had this like voice box inside. Yeah, but that was very sad, wasn't it, about Jack Hawkins? Yeah. Um, and Tony says that's my favourite adventure film, Plumber's Mate. Yes, the Plumber's Mate. Oh, sorry, Taxi Driver for me, Tony. Yeah. Uh, um, he says, I have a Hammer film on Indicator called Snorkel. Yes, that I haven't watched yet. That is, I really enjoy Snorkel. It's pretty clever. It's a film that's probably not ones that people immediately shout out about, but the whole concept and what happens. This guy who thinks he can get away with a perfect murder is brilliant. It's not that long either. I think it might only be about 80 minutes. It's not long at all. It's a very quick film, but the premise is clever and what happens. Wow. Um, I think it leaves you sort of with your mouth open, going, the ending, the ending. Oh wow, yeah, and that's really brilliant. If that comes up on an indicator sale and anybody hasn't got that, I recommend it. Okay, maybe not everybody would like it, but wow, I think it's great. I think it's indicator. I'm sure it's indicator. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I got it. Yeah. Oh, Tony says Patrick Mower's best on TV, I think. Good in Special Branch. Yeah, Special Branch. And the BBC's attempt to copy the Sweeney Target. Ah, yes. Yeah. That's it. They did, didn't they? The Target series. Yeah. Special Branch, I do remember because of George Sewell in that one. And I was always thinking about UFO and all that stuff. But yeah, um, I don't know. He's still obviously at it, doing stuff in a soap opera. Uh, the Snorkel is pretty good, David. It is, yeah. And Tony says there's a good psychological. That's a good psychological thriller. There's a few more they do too. Yeah, that era is really good. Um, and then Dote Sub says, I bought the Special Branch box. I only watched 2 or 3 so far. Not really getting into it yet. Interesting. Yeah. I have not seen any for years, so I don't know. I can't, you know, I just remember him in it and George Sewell. But you see, it's not like the Sweeney, is it? That's so memorable. But it might be quite good, one of those series is that I don't know how kind time has been to it. I don't know, but yeah. Um, And then I have that McMahon and Don't Take Sweets from a Stranger. I've seen neither yet. Yeah, Don't Take Sweets from a Stranger is well worth watching. It's quite an interesting subject that they cover, and one that's possibly quite taboo in some ways, especially at the time. And I know it did struggle, I think, to get past. But yeah, that's one that is mentioned now. I think increasingly people have discovered that film and recognize it as a good film for its period in time. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, what am I going to say about that? And then says Tony says I have all the series don't sub. Earlier black and white can be a little slow. I prefer the later color series. So that's interesting that you think it got better with the color ones. Ah, um, that special branch we're on about.
I got a question.
Special branch. I do remember it, but I can't specifically remember too many episodes of it. But I know we did watch it because I think the Sweeney kind of took over in many ways at that sort of period, and you remember the Sweeney better, I think. But yeah, I do remember it. I think it was a okay series.
I got a question
Yeah,
because people were asking what was the first thing you bought with your wage packet and all of that. The guys and girls in the room, what's the first DVD that you bought that you still have in your collection? So that's not the first one you bought necessarily, because you might have got rid of it or it wore out or had problems with it. What's the one you've still got in your collection? DVD, not Blu-ray, not 4K.
what's yours?
Oh, I'll say mine after we get a few answers, but I think
Okay.
actually the one that I've still got in my collection is The Matrix.
Yeah,
I bought that from America, and it was a
yeah,
gold disc, and it had this copy protection on it, and it had a problem with that copy protection that a lot of people couldn't play even if you bought the original, because your player wouldn't play it unless you did a firmware upgrade. I know that when I bought my first DVD player, it came with a DVD for you to play it on because it was such a new system. I think it was like Flubber or something. Can't remember the Robin Williams film, but the one I've still got in my collection, I believe, is The Matrix, because it was that old Warner Brothers packaging, the old
yeah.
cardboard.
The cardboard with the clicking.
Over and pulled it out.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah,
I've still got Contact in that format
yeah,
as well. But that was a later release
yeah.
Contact. Matrix, I think, is the one for me.
Well, I bought my first DVDs were at WH Smith, and they were on offer. I got 3, I think, for about 40 quid, something like that, which I thought,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, 3 for 40 quid. I'll have those. And they were the best of Monty Python,
Yeah.
the original Five Doctors release,
Yeah.
which is in there, and Dune 84.
Yeah.
They were my
And
first.
have you still got those in your
Yes, I've
collection?
still got them. I won't get rid of them. No, no way. I've still
Brilliant.
got them.
Isn't it great that even though I do think now that DVD hasn't got the bad vibe anymore,
I love them. I won't
right?
get rid of them.
I've got no problems with DVDs, but people go,
Yeah,
"What are you buying that old format for?"
yeah,
But it's nice to know that the ones that you bought and they were early ones, you still got.
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with the quality in my
There's no
mind. I
rot
can
on
put
them.
them
I
on,
take it.
and they
There's no
haven't
rot on them.
disintegrated. Yeah, there's no rot. I think that was a Warner Brothers problem sometimes. Certain discs.
Yeah.
But the ones that I've got, the Five Doctors, it's great. It looks great. It is absolutely fantastic. You know, God, you can imagine how many times I played that when I got it. God and Bennett, Doctor Who never looked so good. I
Yeah.
thought, God, we've got to have the whole lot here. And eventually they did release them. So the first Doctor Who DVD I got after that was The Robots of Death, which is one of my favourite stories. And it was all go. And I've still got them. If there's one thing I would never ever part with is my Doctor Who DVDs. I've got every one. I would never ever part with them. I love them, absolutely. And sometimes I still play them.
I just know that I don't think BBC were very fast on the uptake with DVD, which is why I thought I'd ask the question, because
Yeah,
not necessarily. I
I
know that
think they
you've
were
got your
trying it
DVD
out
collection, and I
initially.
know that you've got your
Yeah,
DVD collection, and you won't
yeah,
get rid of it, but not necessarily might have been your first DVD that you still
yeah,
got in your
yeah.
collection. You see what I
Well,
mean?
Dune '84 was on that. As soon as I saw that was out, I thought, "Oh, got to have that." And um, I wouldn't get rid of that one because it's such a favorite film of mine as well. And you know, it was exciting. I remember only having those 3 DVDs to play, and I was playing them all the time. I just kept playing them and playing them, and I loved the fact that there was no fuss with them, like with VHS. The quality was massive difference with than VHS, and there was none of this rewind and backwards and forwards, and there was no, like the tracking business and all that crap.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
wonderful just watching something over and over again. And another thing, you have these chapters. So if you had a favorite bit, you could jump in and watch the favorite bit in it straight off.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
I still remember Tomorrow's World showing the DVD and the DVD
Oh,
format and the player, and watching. I think it was Maggie Philbin. I think she was trying to eat the dinner off of it or something,
oh
or
God. No.
show that you
Yeah,
could.
that's
This was
silly.
an
Yeah.
indestructible medium or something.
Uh,
I think she even smeared it with jam and put it in the player to see if it
oh,
played or something stupid.
yeah.
Which Tomorrow's World was one of those
Yeah.
clicky shows. You either watched it because you wanted to watch the show that was after it, or you were really interested in new tech that was coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might never see the light of day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
So
think the fact that it's still around today says a lot. It
yeah,
does say a lot. I know Blu-ray has come and we've had 4K, but the fact that DVD is still here and you can still get it is a big testament to how good it is.
yeah,
And obviously we know about the Blu-ray, the big step up, and then maybe not quite as big a step with 4K. But DVD has been consistent and it's still here. And I'm really glad that it's here.
yeah.
I'm still really pleased to have it.
I mean, it works on so many levels because single mums with kids that need to entertain the kids, she can go into a charity store, probably get 5 for £1, all
Yeah.
kiddie stuff, sit them in
Yeah.
front of it and put them on repeat. The
Yeah.
the night guard and all of that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, whatever they want to do, and doesn't have to worry about paying £15 a pop for
Yeah.
something else.
On
That's
streaming stuff, you don't have to have streaming, do you? You could just buy those.
they can't afford the subscription.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
TV license, 180 quid a year. I mean,
Yeah. Exactly.
it makes perfect sense. Got a little
Yeah.
TV, got a player that's connected to it. Put it on, sit down, let them watch that. Be educated with
Yeah.
the In the Night Garden, whatever it is, and not worry about a thing while they
Yeah.
carry on doing the washing up in the kitchen or whatever it is. Not going to hurt anybody. Great.
Yeah. And of course, for us, TV series that we know are never going to get on Blu-ray. They're never going to get on Blu-ray. At least we have a way of archiving them, have them, and on DVD. It's good. I mean, it isn't true that there are obviously some companies like Network and what have you that get these TV series as upgraded, but relatively speaking, that some are never going to get any further release. It's not going to happen, is it? And so, at least you've got a DVD copy. and it's great. And the upscale, I say, not there are some DVDs that are not as good quality, but generally speaking, the majority of DVDs upscale really well.
Yeah.
I think, and you know, what more can? That's why I can't see them die. You get these YouTubers are probably saying, "Oh, it's DVD is dead, and that's it. You know, we don't need that anymore." No, it's still going to be around. I think for a few more years yet, and people who
I'd
were
agree.
and people are kind of waking up in a sense that why I can't afford all these streaming services. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
So
Or
why
they
not
or
get
they're
you
getting
something?
or they're getting stung by the fact that what they bought is being taken away from them because it was just a license. It wasn't
Oh
actually
yes,
what you
all
bought.
that
So,
stuff and stuff that's now considered not. They edit them. They say, "Oh, we can't show that nowadays. It's
oh
inappropriate." So
yeah.
you're getting censorship. You're not going to get you. You can buy a DVD. You can watch it how it was meant to be by the director, not how people decide. We don't know what the streaming companies are up to. They can be editing away. They say, "Oh, you can't say that. You can't put that in." So it's a good thing, DVDs, and I think people know that now. I think people are thinking, yeah, because if you look at the sales, I think DVDs are still selling well, relatively.
Yeah.
They still sell. Um,
Very much.
totally understand that.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
thought I'd bring that in.
No,
Fun little thing to ask.
yeah. And then well, this is for you, I think. And it says, can I mention games? You can mention whatever you want. I've got Delboy here. He knows all about games. You
Do it
talk to him
now.
about
You
it.
see, you built me up here, and I bet you any
Yeah.
money I can't answer it. Go on.
Has anyone here played Splatoon Raiders on Switch 2? I bought it and didn't expect much, but I'm hooked. Well, that's what a good game would do, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But anyhow, I'll let you talk
I,
about it.
I I haven't played Splatoon Raiders. I do know that there's a game called Splatoon, which I think was the first one, and I played that and thought it was all right, but it's not really my type of game. I have to say, I'm a bit old school because my computers go back to the ZX80, ZX81, VIC 20 days. So we're talking 1980, and I had a game console before that, Pong and all of that. So I'm not necessarily a big fan of what they call AAA titles that cost 60 quid. And they're mostly movies with a bit of interaction in them, or they're multiplayer type games. But I've heard good things because I know of Splatoon Raiders. But it's like anything. I, believe it or not, have never been a fan of Fortnite. Everybody's heard of
Oh
Fortnite, I
yeah,
think. Right?
even
Even if
I've
you're not
heard
a
of that
game
game.
player, people have heard
Yeah,
of Fortnite. And
yeah.
I've gone, what the hell's all this fuss over this game?
What's it
But I
about?
always remember the days that I first played Minecraft. Right,
Mm,
this was back in the day where
yeah,
one bloke developed it, nobody really knew anything about it, and I thought this looks crap. Bought it, loved it. I was hooked on it for years.
mm,
It was like Lego to me, and I was going, "Oh, I'm going to build I'm going to build a cave, and in this cave, I'm going to build a house, and I'm going to put furniture in it, and all of this sort."
mm.
And I was going, that's going back to the days of women, of girls with dolls' houses and stuff. What are you? Why are you doing this? But it was the making glass and having windows and things like that, and then looking out the window and seeing these creatures, and you're stuck in your house. It was very much like putting yourself in the scenario of the last man on earth,
Mm.
where he's held up in his own house and he has
Oh
to get back
yeah,
at night,
yeah,
and there's all these zombies or
yeah,
creatures out in the night that you need to, and then you waited till day came along, and when you came out, they were all dead, and you tried to find out where they were, and they were trapped in caves because there's no sun down there, and you
yeah,
went down there and tried to kill them. It was fascinating,
yeah, yeah.
and I was hooked on it, and I spent way too many hours on it, and that got me into what they call indie gaming. And it's what made me go, I don't need to spend 60 quid on this crap stuff when I can play something like this that cost me a tenner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got far more out of it.
Yeah.
So
Can
my
I
life
just
changed. My life changed with indie games, I have
yeah.
to say.
Can I ask you then why I've heard you say I've heard of Fortnite. It's something that's probably moved into sort of more media sort of mentioned.
Yeah.
What is it about? Why is it popular?
I think it's popular because you can play with your friends. That's first of all. It's a very much an arena type game, you know, where
Oh,
you've got a gun, you can build your own little fort, you
oh,
can then shoot people or challenge and all that sort of stuff. And from that point of view, it's like, I mean, like Call of Duty in a way, but not set in the 1940s or
right. Yeah.
anything like that. So you go around shooting shit, building stuff, making something your own. So you can personalize this fort. And that's why I think it's called Fortnite. Fort.
Ah,
See what I mean?
yeah.
Fort. You're
Yeah.
building your own fort, if you see what I
Yeah.
mean. So it's very much a playground game, but in computer terms. Do you remember you used to go to playgrounds and sometimes there were wooden logs made into forts?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you used to play games around that, you know, oh, I'm the king of the fort,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, all of that sort of stuff and all. So, you know, it's a bit
That's
like
its
that. But
appeal. You
I
think?
can't
Yeah.
say I can't say that I'm an aficionado on it because I never really played Fortnite.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never
Yeah.
found the interest in it.
Yeah.
But I do know millions and millions and millions out there
Yeah.
love it. And that's why
Yeah.
I'd say, good for you. I'm glad you
Yeah.
found something that keeps you entertained and you're happy with. And
Yeah.
I'd never take that
No.
enjoyment
Exactly.
away from someone.
Yeah.
What I
Yeah.
don't like about the gaming industry is loot boxes. And what I mean by loot boxes is something that costs you nothing, but they put a mechanism in it that makes you put your credit card in and buy things to make you
Oh.
do
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That is an awful mechanism, and I believe Fortnite had that.
Oh.
In other
Dear.
words, you built your character, and then because you saw your character, you wanted to put them in a cloak, or you wanted to put them in a
You have
pair
to
of
pay for
jeans
it.
or something, right? Or wear a mask or something. And that was a
Oh, I don't
paid
like
thing
that.
that you bought
Yeah.
from their inline store, and you had to put your credit card in and
That's
all of
wrong.
that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's there for kiddies to play, and the kiddies don't understand the concept of money,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they then start
Yeah.
pestering your parents, and if your parents
Oh.
don't, they know where they got their credit card is, and they start stealing
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
And you can get into real big debt with
That's
these loot
terrible.
boxes.
Yeah. Oh, they should have stopped that. Put some sort of thing to
Oh
stop
yeah,
it, not
and it's
allowing
like
it.
anything. How do you police the internet?
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you're into games, you don't want any barrier. And if you're going to pay as a kid, you're going to pay, aren't you? You're not going to have any concept.
They protected their own interest by saying you must be of a certain age to be able to buy from this store. So if you are not of that age, you need to speak to a parent to do it. But the trouble is they can't say who put the credit card details in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Right. And then Tony says, I've had Don't Take Sweets for ages. Must get around to seeing it. Yeah, it's well worth watching. Definitely well
it's one of those films that I've got, loved, watched it several times. It is a disturbing watch. I will say that, even if it is a very, very early Hammer, under the Hammer label.
Yeah.
I think it was Nigel that introduced me to that.
Yeah.
And what a great thing he did, because I was so intrigued by it and I liked it. Because it's something that I wouldn't have considered Hammer, because I've always turned around and said this. I didn't know an awful lot about horror. I knew of Hammer, loved Dracula's, Frankenstein's, werewolves, mummies. Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, all of that sort of stuff. Didn't know about that film because I didn't really look at it like that. So,
So Indicator have actually done a good job of introducing people to all these sort of thrillers and films that
yeah.
Hammer did, which is really good. Yeah. And then Tony says, "You'll never guess what I'll watch over and over again, Ian." Now, it begins with Z, I think.
Oh Christ, yeah. Does it end with ooh?
Yeah. We know you, Tony. We know you too well. Yeah. One of my favorite go back films is Carrie. I can understand that as well.
Ah,
The build, I think what I like about Carrie is the build up, isn't it? The way it does that build up to the climax of the film. Absolutely superb film. I agree. It's just a classic. That's another classic film, Carrie. I've never seen the remake because I thought you can't make the original. You just can't match it. You're never going to match it.
Sissy Spacek, isn't it?
Yeah, but I know they actually did a remake of it, didn't they? I mean,
a couple of years ago.
Sacrilege.
Is it a couple of years ago they did another version of it?
Yeah, I know that. I just thought I'm not going to watch it. Don't waste my time. And then Sai says the films I watch on a regular basis are The Sting, yeah, Big Trouble in Little China, obviously, but I do like to watch Dodgeball from time to time.
Oh.
Ben Stiller is hilarious in it. Oh, it's a great choice. Yeah, some great choices there. Interesting. See, I knew you'd mentioned The Sting because I know you mentioned The Sting before. That's an interesting choice, Dodgeball as well.
I felt really bad actually because I did a watch along with the Big Trouble in Little China, and I must have watched it when my mind wasn't in a good place because I went, oh, that's not how I remembered it. Didn't like that at all. I've always before that point loved that film. I haven't gone back to it since, but I
should go back to it. I think
I've got it. I have got a steel book of it.
Yeah.
And I need to go back because I like John Carpenter around that period.
I think it's underrated in many ways, or maybe it's not underrated. People recognize how good it is. I like the mysterious bits in it when it goes a bit more off, kilter, if you want to say it. I quite like all that stuff. I think it's a good film. That Kurt Russell's good as well in it. His character, he's a no-nonsense character, isn't he, in it? And I like that performance. It's different from some of the other performances we've seen from him. Really, it's a good film. I think it's a very good film. And then, this is interesting that you brought this up. Dose of Game says Arthur was such a good film. Yeah, you see, I'd forgotten all about Arthur, and I agree. Totally agree with. Yeah, it was.
Can't quite remember who the director was of Arthur.
Yeah, I can't remember. By the way, Ian, I noticed the date on your thumbnails for tonight live stream is wrong.
Oh, is it?
There we are. Sorry. Yeah. No, I'm sure nobody else noticed, but yeah, we'll pretend that no, it's happened. But you would. You don't miss a bloody thing, do you? You don't miss a thing. My mistakes happen.
Yeah, but we love that about him.
Yeah. I make mistakes. David, will you be watching the up and coming Carrie series when it gets released?
I've heard of that. The Carrie. I haven't heard of it, but I didn't know it. I didn't know that it was still going ahead.
I don't know. What can I say? Be interested to see what people think about it. And then Tony said, I did too, Jamie, but didn't like to mention it. Oh, it's all right. I didn't know I'd made a mistake, but there we are. That's me. But you're all here, so you must have known. And then David says, "So I didn't know about it." All right. And then thought that was Roy that did the sequel video. Ah, yes, he did. I think. Yeah, I think it could have been Roy. Yes. Yeah, you're probably right. It was Blue Roy. I think. Yeah.
Oh, that was where you were
was.
talking. That was
Yeah,
where you were
about the
talking about the
sequel video.
top 10 sequels. Is that what you
Yeah, I
mean?
think it was him. Yes.
Well, I did say that.
Yeah.
Have I missed a Muckman release? Because
No,
I don't remember.
no, it's me who's got it wrong. You see, everybody knows I get things wrong. And look at this. I haven't done a video on sequels. By heck.
I'll tell you what. It's
Uh,
about the only thing you ain't done a bloody thing on then.
but it probably has got one in his works. He's probably thinking, I'll have to do that one.
I'll tell you what. I bet you within 7 days he'd have done one.
And then, sure, I watched it yesterday. And then Si says, David, it drops on Amazon Prime on October the 7th. It's a Mike Flanagan production, so I'm guessing that's going to be good. That's the Carrier TV series, then. Oh, right.
Yeah, they're talking about the character. I'd heard of it. I didn't know that it was not that far away.
Thought not, Jamie. It was Roy, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Roy. Really, I'm confused. Unless I was one I did ages ago. No, you're not confused. It's me. You should know me by now. Don't take any notice. I get things wrong. Top 10 remakes is doing the rounds. Right, that's it. Yeah. And then Tony said, it was Blu-ray movies, Jamie, I'm sure. You're right, it was. Yes. Yeah. And then they're saying, yeah, Roy did remakes. And tagged me on the challenge.
They are 7 days, 7 days guaranteed. Jamie's going to have a bloody video out.
The greatest remake of all time is, of course, The Thing. Yes,
I would put that in top tier. Yeah, I don't know if it's the greatest remake. That's a bold statement, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty spot on. I should think with that.
Yeah,
because I can't think of anything that is better.
Yeah, the thing is, the original isn't as good, is it? I think the original is.
It's a man in a suit, and it's.
Whereas, here's one for you: Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I do love the 50s.
That's a fantastic remake.
But the 78 version is the one that everybody.
Yeah, but
say,
I was asked that question, and I said in that in where I answered it. There's 4 versions of Invasion of the Body Snatchers that I'm aware of. And if I alternate between the first one and the second one.
Yeah.
If you ask me 1 week, I'll probably say it was the second one. If you ask me another week, I'll say, the original. Actually, I've thought about it again, and I'm going to go with the original because
that's so good. Yeah.
One of them is a little bit more of a sleepy town vibe to it, and the other one is more about just what can go on solitude-wise in a city.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a very powerful ending, but
that's the end. It's the ending that we all remember in the first and the second one.
But it offers no comfort or hope whatsoever. Whereas the first film, you do get a bit of hope, don't you? At the end, after all he's been through, you do get some hope, which is something. But with The Thing, I just think the original would be considered that great anyhow. I mean, it's entertaining, it's good. I've got it myself, but
anyway, we better not deliberate too long because it's like 10 to 11.
Remakes. That's it. Not sequels. Completely confused now. Oh yeah, I suppose remakes. Oh Oh, I give. Oh man, remakes and sequels. I don't know. I give up. Tony, did you buy the German folktale set from Eureka? I'm looking forward to watching it. And Tony says, no, David, to be honest, I'm not sure I'd enjoy it. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on them when you've watched them. I'm looking forward to the Eureka set of East German Westerns due next.
I must
Right.
admit, just out of interest, by the way, has anybody heard anything good? And I'll just ask this as a quick question of whether this Crystal Lake is a good TV series.
Oh, yeah. It'd be interesting. Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
think,
carry on.
yeah. That will be interesting. Yeah. Spider-Man isn't getting IMAX screenings because of the Odyssey. Right.
I think you'll find there's
yeah.
an answer to that
Yeah.
later on.
And then continued month. I enjoyed the single film they released a while ago. And then James says, I went to a very intimate and relaxed gig last Wednesday. It was Jay
Buchanan,
lead singer of Rival Sons. It was a fantastic performance, interspersed with anecdotes of how he came to write the songs. Excellent. And then Delboy says, okay, so I heard they were taking Odyssey off from a few IMAX for Spidey, but didn't know if that was hearsay. So that's your answer to that.
Yeah.
And so Tony says, I'll let you know who also got the German Westerns One Adventure calls. And then View took Odyssey off their epic screen for Spider-Man here in Leeds.
See, this is where I was going, that I've heard that the action sequences and the picture quality of Spider-Man is so good that they want to show it in an IMAX at some point. But that's where I was said about hearsay, and I don't
know. Odyssey was amazing at the IMAX in Bradford. Oh, so you went to Bradford?
I saw it short on that, and it got me excited to I really want to see Odyssey now. But there you
go. And then Tony says, I have that set too, David. Those are based on the 19th century German author's work, but Eureka are releasing another set next month of different films, Westerns made in communist East Germany. Let's go to next, continue. Seen the trailers and they look good. They released a single East German Western a few months ago, which I enjoyed. It was fascinating because we don't think of East Germany in Westerns. And Si says, I've been to see the Odyssey twice, Jamie, both on IMAX. It's my second favorite film of the year so far. And then James says, watched a good Japanese film called Exit 8 this week. It's a film about a guy who gets into a loop in a subway passage and has to work out how to get through, spotting subtle anomalies in the passage. Yeah, I saw you showing that film, the cover.
Yeah, I saw the poster with the 8 as well. So which is that the loop, I suppose, that he's talking about. So I saw it as well, Jamie. You advertising bastard! I mean, you great person, you.
And then Si says, "I'm always wanted to watch it, Jamie, but I keep forgetting to get round to it." And Jamie says, "Si, I'm tempted to head over to IMAX 70mm in Manchester, blooming heck, to see the Odyssey again. That would be quite a thing, wouldn't it?"
Yeah, there's not too many true IMAX 70mm in the country. The one closest to me, I think, is in London, and that's like always sold out, and it's always got a Nolan film on. I tell you,
from Leeds to Manchester is not too bad, is it? It's not not as far, And then I bet it will be awesome on 70mm IMAX. It will, I'm sure. Also rewatched Akira Kurosawa's Throne of Blood, his amazing screen adaptation of Macbeth. Tarisho Mifune He's incredible in it. I probably pronounced all that wrong, but there we are. I rewatched Nobody's Fool yesterday. Me and my mate were talking about Paul Newman, so I had to watch it. It's my second favorite film of his. I absolutely loved it. Do you know, I've not heard of that, Nobody's Fool. Absolutely. And then not heard of that one, Si. I don't want to see Judge Roy. I said I want to see Judge Roy Bean though. Yeah, that's been mentioned before, hasn't it? And then David, Nobody's Fool is from 1994. Oh, it was his last Oscar nomination for lead actor. I highly recommend it. Probably his best performance, in my opinion. Wow. And then Si says also Judge Roy Bean is on my ever expanding watch list. Yeah, everybody's got
him and me both with it watching this.
And then James says Judge Roy Bean is great. And then I watched Nobody's Fool recently, really enjoyed it. And then Si says it's on the list because of your recommendation, Jamie. Wow,
there you go.
Thumbs up. And then David Marshall says, didn't Craven newsroom? Oh yes, he did. Oh, John
Craven. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we grew up with Newsround, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
He was always at some petting zoo or something with that.
Yeah, they tried to explain the news to anybody who didn't know, to children, give their own news angle on that, you know. So obviously the stories were very.
This is the interesting thing about it. Some of the stuff that was done on Newsround was actually ended up being in the 6 o'clock news as an end segment.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was. Yeah, everybody used to watch the news then, but they don't now. No. Yeah. And Country File, yeah, he did that, didn't he? I know my mum and dad used to go on about Country File. I never watched that, but yeah. Is anyone a Weezer fan? Just asking because they announced a small UK tour today, and I'm really excited to see them. I have to see them. That's good. I haven't heard much of them for years and years, and I don't really know enough about their music, really. Prompts. So there we are. And then I thought Craven was bad, but not as bad as Madam Web or Morbius. Yeah.
Craven is not a diamond in the rough, but it's definitely a shoulder width above Madam Web and Morbius. Madam Web's weird. Madam Web is the protagonist is a person called Ezkael or Ezreal, a sort of a future version or a multiverse version of Spider-Man. I remember that character being introduced into the comic, and they didn't really like that too much either. It was J. Michael Straczynski that wrote that story. It started all that Spider-Verse thing going on, where the reason he was bitten by a spider was because of a spider totem thing, where the spider chose its across all these different multiverses, and Peter Parker is just one of them. I never really got into that, but it's interesting because if you think about Spider-Man and you think about the first 10 or 12 issues of Spider-Man, they're all animals. Scorpion, vulture. See what I mean? They're lizard, rhino. See what I mean? All based around animals. So somebody thought about it one day and said, "Oh, there must be a reason why it's all animals," and then wrote a story around it. There you are. That's how that came about.
All right.
Carrying on.
And then Tony says, I do enjoy the early X-Men films. Got them on DVD. Yeah, I've got all of them. And I think the earlier ones probably are best. Yeah. Enjoyable.
Well, the third X-Men film I'm not a big fan of, because that's the Phoenix Saga again.
Oh, that's the last one, isn't it? That's the very last one. But
no, the original three. So there's X2, and the
Yeah,
third X-Men before it went into a totally different direction with no Patrick Stewart or anything like
yeah,
that, right? The
yeah,
third one is still got Jean Grey
yeah.
and the Phoenix thing in it, if you see what I mean. And I didn't really get on with that one.
No, well, a
Yeah.
lot of people didn't. It gets slagged off a lot, that one. And then Sai says, I liked it when the superhero films were standalone films, not like today where you need to watch 4 shows and 20 previous movies. You're so spot
Yeah.
on there. That's
Yeah.
what's happened. It's wrong. Not a big Weezer fan, Sai. Think I saw them at Download once. Enjoyed them, but it's not a band I listen to. And then he says, I love them. And then Terence says, X2 is the one that starts with an attack on the Oval Office, I think. That's a
Yeah,
great opening.
that's
Yeah.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah. And then the Mothman Prophecies is getting a bumper 88 films release. Got it ordered, Delboy. It's a great atmospheric supernatural mystery movie. Yeah, I've heard about it, but never seen it.
That's the Richard Gere film,
That's
isn't it?
right, yeah. And then Stephen, hello Stephen. Good evening, Ian, Del, and chat. Is the new Spider-Man film in your top 3 for the whole series, Del? There's a question for you.
Yes.
There you are. That's it.
You know, at the end of the day, you've got the Sam Raimi trilogy, you've got the Andy Garfield 2, you've now got 4 Tom Holland ones. Yes, it would be in the top 3.
So no spoilers, but that's a good answer. Yeah. And then hi Stephen. Jamie says, hi Muckman, Stephen says, and then hi Stephen, Sai says, and then Tony York says, shouldn't they have already announced the next Blu-ray Doctor Who set? There's still Pertwee's last series to come. Looking forward to improved effects on Invasion of the Dinosaurs. A lot of people have been discussing all this, and it's interesting that they should. Normally, by now, we have had an announcement, I think, in previous ones.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't know whether there's a problem with that last John Pertwee one, because I do know that Invasion of the Dinosaurs for a long time only had a black and white copy of the first episode.
That's right, it did.
And they colorized it. And the thing about it is, Doctor Who at the moment, if you go into YouTube land, is full of negativity. It's always about, there's no Christmas special, what's going to be happening everywhere. And they're not talking about whether the BBC are still doing releases. I know that there's been discussions about the animation, there's been discussions about steel books. I haven't heard too much about why there hasn't been a box set announced.
Because what used to happen before, if you remember, a trailer would be dropped, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And then we'd all go, wow, that's going to be the next one. And I think everybody's been expecting a Peter Davidson one. But we haven't had anything. I think it suggests that they're just pushing it back further. I think it'll be all ready.
I mean, the next BBC release for me is the next Blake 7 box set.
Yeah, we haven't had. We've had that's coming, but there's no specific date, is there yet on that?
I think it's before the end of the year.
Yeah, so we'll look out for that. But there's something going on, I think, with the strategy of releases of these editions, and I think they're cutting down how many they're going to release a year. I think you might only get one. So we may even not get an announcement until, say, January next year.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, and it'll just say, Peter Davidson's coming out in July or June or something.
I should think it. I bet you any money it'll be January for an April release.
Yeah. We'll get something, but it's
usually 3 months. It's usually 3 months.
Yeah.
Usually,
I think they realise that they're not going to get the animation ones at the moment for a long time of the
Yeah.
first Doctor, and of course the second Doctor's a big problem with all that. So um, the natural ones everybody's thought is of course the Pertwee ones, the two, the first one, not the first one, the last one, isn't it? That they definitely think will come out. And what's the other one? There's two Pertwee ones to get, isn't there? Is there two left?
Two Pertwee what?
Two that haven't been released.
Seasons, you mean?
Yeah, 2 seasons. I
Uh,
think they may well be. I know that the last one um, was the first, wasn't it? The first season they released last.
season 7's out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean the first Pertwee story. Yeah, season.
Yeah, season 7.
Yeah, but they haven't released the one would have Planet of Spiders on and all that. The very last.
Yeah, well, that's where he's talking about dinosaurs because it's Sarah Jane's
Yeah.
first introduction, and the whole of that season is not out. Yeah.
No, but we'll see what happens. But I think they're going to get very slowed down. Sad. Even I mean, obviously you'd think, oh, well, they could release the Tom Baker ones, Key to Time or something like that.
Key to Time is a definite. That's a definite key point of not being there.
Yeah, yeah. But they're obviously got some strategy now that's happened. I don't know what the sales were like either. I don't know if the sales have been good. I can understand people saying, "Oh, well, I'll wait until standard edition comes out." I can understand that. Yeah. Tony says, "Hi, Stephen," and then Stephen says, "Si, good evening, Si. You've lost your manager and captain. It might be a tough season for Newcastle." I didn't know that. They've lost.
Yes, it was on the news. It was on the news.
Oh dear. That isn't a good start.
Some of them turned around and said maybe it's good. I remember seeing the article, hearing about it, because they said maybe it's good news, really, because he got them the 2 championship wins. But to be quite honest, they only got to 10th or 11th in the last season, and they were saying that it wasn't a high enough position, and there was a lot of, and of course he's losing a lot of players because their captain's gone and their goal is going, and all this sort of stuff. And I think that they're a bit worried about what their position will be with these players going. So they need to bring in a manager that's going to be able to weather this storm. And they don't think that person with its final position last year is going to be good enough to get them through. So I think that was the reasoning behind it. And some people were saying sad, and other people were saying probably a good move. So there's a mixed reaction to it. I will say that.
Right. Be interesting to see what happens there.
I only know all of that because of Si and my mate 20th Century Gaming and Ox are all Newcastle and all of that sort of stuff. So they were telling me they can't wait for me to see Coventry go up into the Premiership so that Newcastleans can play them again. And they kept ribbing me because Newcastle went up and Coventry didn't, and I've had to wait a couple more years for them to go up. So that's how I know so much about Newcastle, because I don't follow Newcastle, but I will do now, won't I? So
yeah. For me, I don't mind the turmoil. Anything that keeps that is good for Leeds is good.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. It's all survival. That's it. Hi, Tony. And then Slipknot says, Tony Hawk's McMahon movies, David Marshall, Stephen Taylor, good evening. And then, hi, Slip, Tony says. Hi, Tony, Slip says. And then Stephen Taylor says, and Slip. And then Si says, Stephen, I'm actually excited for the up and coming season. I have faith in the new coach and the new players. That's good. Yes, they're a bit young, but they're definitely bright stars for the future. Well, I think that's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better than having a load of sort of older players, definitely. And then Slipknot High from Sai, and then says it. Good luck for them, Stephen says, and then howdy Slipknot, Muckman says, and then David. At the end of the day, if you like, that's the main thing. I bought the Pete Walker box set a couple of years ago, and that was $79.99. I love it. Oh, Pete Walker. Cult films. They're brilliant. They're so different. Pete Walker. Exploitation films, I would say. 80 quid? Yeah, well, there we are. Didn't get Curse of Frankenstein big set, Tony says, as I have the 2-disc Lionsgate Blu-ray from several years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand totally. Yeah. It's expensive, isn't it, getting all these, keeping up? And if you're happy with what you've got, I bought the big set of Curse of Frankenstein. We'll get a Bonneville Snowman when I get back from holiday. What, you going on holiday again?
I know. Sod retirement. Bloody hell.
Oh, yeah. Where are you going this time? Australia? Timbuktu?
Yeah. Which country haven't you visited, you little sod?
Japan. And I thought you'd have thought of Japan. Yeah. I think I've said that before, and you said you wouldn't go for various principles.
No, I think if we look at his passport, it's a bit dubious, right? Because I reckon all of these bushfires have been started by him, and if you look at his passport, you'll find out it's very suspect that every place he's been to, these bushfires have started.
Tony says, missed out on that Pete Walker set, David, but picked up the individual titles when they were released then later. Have you a favourite one? And then I joined the stream at 8:30 and still haven't got to my first comment. All right, well, you're here now. We're still here. And then Tony says, mine is House of Mortal Sin with Susan Penhaligon, Stephanie Beecham, and George and Mildred's snooty neighbour playing a priest. My favourite is House of Whipcord. I don't know. It's a crazy film for me, but I do like House of Whipcord. Do you know any of his films? Pete Walker's films?
No, not somebody that I'm totally familiar with.
Oh, right. Okay. And then,
would you recommend any, Ian?
Well, I think they're exploitation kind of films. If you're in that sort of mood and like the sort of exploitation stuff, then you'll like it. I liked House of Whipcord, but mentioned, what was it? The one that he mentioned? Let's have a look. What was it one you mentioned? House of Mortal Sin. Yeah, I've got that one, but I haven't watched it as much. But I'd recommend them. all. I'd look at the box set. They've got a certain style to them. That's all I would say. There is a nice box set, but I think it's quite expensive. That's the problem of all these things. I've just got individual copies. And then we've got Steam Time Muckman movies. You'll have to wait until episode 120.
Oh, did you not read Sai's comment about which films he's seen on Friday? Because I don't remember you reading it out. You displayed it, but I don't think you read it out.
Didn't I? Oh, well, I'm going back then. Where is it? Sai. Oh, yeah, here we are. I'm sorry, Sai. Good job. That's why Delboy's here, because I'm pretty senile most of the time. I'm having a triple bill at the cinema on Friday. First up, Spider-Man in 3D, second time. Second up, Ice Cream Man. I've heard some interesting reviews on that. That's the LA Roth one, is it? And then a third, Super Troopers 3. I'm really looking forward to seeing Super Troopers 3. Oh, some great films. you always support cinema, which I think is absolutely fantastic. You see all these films. That's great. Absolutely wonderful, Si. And I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Yeah, and sorry for missing you out. That's why Delboy's here. He keeps an eye on things because
Yeah, no other reason.
that's why he's here.
Not
He's
for
here because he's got more
not
knowledge
for
than
entertainment and knowledge based purposes. I can
he's
tell you
got.
that.
Oh, no, I use you because I think God, you know all these films that I don't. So I look as if I know about films, but he's got the knowledge. I always think so. There we are. We can talk about ice lollies and stuff like that, and so. But there we are. And then right. This did I do this one? What one was you have to wait until episode 120? Yeah, that was a laugh at this. And then oh yeah, here she is. It's I know this is it's Mer. Hello from Philippines. Hi everyone watching from the Philippines. There she is. Well done. Brilliant. Thank you for supporting me. And then Tony says that's only 1.5 hours, Jamie. Quite quick, really. That's good. And then Tony says, hi, lovely cat. And then Si says, hi, Philippines. Yeah, they know, from Philippines. And Slipper says, lovely cat, hello. Do you watch the Wacken Battle of the Bands? They had a Filipino band named Sentient Void competing. Do you know, I've never heard of that. That's new to me. Wacken Battle of the Bands. That's totally new to me. Tony says Farage seems quite tame compared to Rupert Lowe. Restore party leader. Oh dear, he made a video plea trying to get Farage to join forces with him. He strikes me as being quite unhinged, hearing some of his policies. Yeah, another nutter. We've got a lot of them. Both despicable people, Tony. It's time we removed hateful rhetoric from politics. I've had enough of it. I know.
Yeah,
it's
I agree with that.
Yeah, hateful. Yeah. It really is. Politics of hate. Si says Farage and Lowe do come across as a bit Adolphe.
Yeah.
That's a good term, Adolphe. I like that. That's a new term for English language. He was emphasizing we're a Christian country. If his policies and attitudes to certain people is Christian, I want nothing to do with the faith. Not that I'm religious anyway, but they all use that. They all claim that they're Christians. It's a thing that they have to do, even though they've never been near a church or prayed for years, unless it's a good publicity stunt. Oh yeah, look, here I am, like a certain person does in America. I enjoyed your podcast at work the other night, Del. I found it interesting. I'll subscribe later.
Oh, that's fine.
And that gives me a thing. So if anybody watching who hasn't subscribed to Delboy's channel, please subscribe. Go over and subscribe to his channel. Absolutely wonderful.
That's nice. That's nice of you.
Put the link in there.
Let's hope that what happens normally when you say.
Well, I have to say it because it's not fair, and I think you deserve to have more people who watch your channel. Really do, and as you know, my opinions on it. So I'll always say that. Always support your channel. Definitely. They're self-serving. Yeah, I won't say that. Who stir people up based on fake news? Yeah, I think that the C word there is the fake news. That sounds like a certain orange man. Yeah. Sue says, do you have a favorite gangster type film? Goodfellas is mine. So I'll let you kick off.
I mean, Goodfellas is brilliant. I've watched that so many times. You watched Casino just recently, haven't you?
Yeah, Casino is.
That's great.
Yeah. And
I do like some Spencer Tracy type films. If you want to go back that far, angels with dirty faces and
yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Edward G.
I
Robinson.
even like The Irishman,
Yeah, yeah,
which got mixed when it first came out.
yeah,
Goodfellas is up there.
yeah. I just mentioned
Um,
another one, Godfather, the original Godfather, and
yeah,
Godfather
you've got
2.
Godfather.
Yeah.
You've got a number of films like Bob Hoskins. What's his in
Yeah, is the
Long
long
Good Friday? Is it?
yeah, the long Good Friday. Oh, and also I'll say Michael Caine, Get Carter. Absolutely
Get Carter's
wonderful.
an absolute
Yeah.
beast of a film.
In fact, it's one of my favourite. I would put Get Carter.
And
Favourite
we've
British
talked
film.
about that Richard Burton film where he
Villain.
got what was
Villain,
it called?
yes.
Bullet, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. Villain's a
Um,
good one. There is
Villain, that's it.
what to do is if you're interested in British gangster films, just do a bit of Google searching British gangster films, and I'm sure you'll find lists of interesting films going right back.
Yeah, because you talk about the craze a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, the craze. I
You've
like
seen
that.
Legend, haven't you, a few
Yeah,
times?
yeah, yeah. Because I said I prefer the Kemp brothers.
Yeah, the craze.
Rather than the Tom Hardy one. Though the Tom Hardy one is good because he plays both. He really does. He plays both characters.
Yeah.
Somehow they managed to film it in a way. But yeah, there's a lot of British gangster films. Just have a look round. It's always worth googling things and seeing what sort of releases are, because somebody's probably somewhere done videos on it or done you can just find out loads of information and what is rated and not. And then I says, totally agree, Jamie. They're using propaganda for their own selfish reasons. Yeah, rich millionaires. A villain, there it is. He's mentioned it with Richard Burton, Stephen. It is good. Not seen that, Tony. I will look it up. Richard Burton's always worth watching. What an actor he was. Didn't make enough films. Should have made some really good films. It's on Studio Canal Vintage Classics, Stephen. Yeah. Thanks, Tony. And then got thumbs up on that. And then Ian, there's 5 episodes of Kunk on BBC iPlayer. Get on it. That show was made for you. Oh, right. Okay. I'll check that out.
So you've never seen Philomena Kunk?
No, I've never seen it. No.
Bloody hell, man.
No,
Jesus.
I see everything. But yeah. If it's as good as the Android performance, then I'll be.
Oh, it's better.
Yeah, I'll just love
it. I must admit, I mean, as much as I like Anna Droid, Philomena Kunk is just a unique character that you've got to watch.
Right.
You won't believe how many things come out per second out of her mouth.
Oh, right. Let's have a look. King Kong was in the background on my pickup video, Ian. All right. Okay. Stephen, I concur with Tony. Villain is an excellent British gangster flick. Richard Burton is certainly a great actor. Yeah. Tony, I knew you'd mention Robbery. Robbery, possibly my second favourite gangster. Well, Robbery is excellent. Based on the great train robbery, with a great opening car chase with director Peter Yates, recreated from Bullet. Yeah. I suppose The Godfather counts as a gangster film. He certainly does. And then we've got wee Bob. Bob popping in to say hello. Hope you're all well. Thank you for joining us, wee Bob. And then Tony says, hi, Bob. So I said, favourite gangster for me is Casino, of course. Yeah, it is. It is with me in many ways. It's so good. Hi, wee Bob. And then wee Bob says, my new movie gaming room is keeping me busy as having a great TV and sound system, even though budget ones is making watching movies fantastic. I'm glad you're enjoying your
Oh
special
yeah.
room. It's good to have such a place. And we've got Delboy saying, "What's your favorite film on your sound system, Wee Bob, of old or new?" And then Wee Bob says, "What's the original Running Man at the weekend and the 80s dancers intro was amazing in the on the new setup." And somebody's there showing it there. There we are. Another steelbook. Surprised. We'd be shocked if you showed a normal Blu-ray. uh, Question: do you prefer the Sweeney or Inspector North?
Oh,
Both by John Thorpe, of course. That's an
no,
interesting.
I'll tell you what, that's hard. And I'll tell you why. Because when back in the 70s, that was such an impressive show, the Sweeney, because it was hard and gritty. And Inspector Morse is a thinking man's sort of one. And I loved that because it's so close to where I live.
Yes, yeah.
So every time I watched it, I was going, I've been there, been there, been there, been there, you know, all of this sort of stuff, which I couldn't do with the Sweeney. And they're two totally chalk and cheese because one's gritty and the other one's softer. You see what I mean? But both have their own merits. So I couldn't choose between the two. I know my mum would choose Inspector Morse because she likes that Midsummer Murders vibe. You know what I mean? But that doesn't take anything away from the Sweeney, which is so gritty and so iconic.
Yeah.
Even that theme tune.
Yeah. Look, I can hear it now. As soon as you just said it, it just went straight into my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a confession to make. I've never seen any Inspector Morse.
Sort of like the British Kojak.
Yeah, I've never watched Inspector Morse. So I've always watched the Sweeney, but I know Inspector Morse was a massive series for ITV. I don't know how many years it went on, but it did go on for quite a few years.
Oh, there was 8 or 9 seasons.
Yeah. And it was considered a big thing. The last episode, I remember, there was going.
You see, then they followed that up with Endeavour, and then you know what I mean. Which is his earlier life. And
they really did it all, didn't they? But
so, I mean, I believe it's because the books were so well. Yeah.
Oh well. Anyhow, but yeah, I do understand it got massive viewing figures, didn't it, Inspector Morse for ITV? It was a bankable series for them. And then Wee Bob says, I threw away all my dad's.
That might be DVDs.
Yes. DVDs. Oh, why did you do that? Oh. Anyhow, everybody does their own thing. And then Tony says, definitely Sweeney for me, Stephen. I've watched quite a few of Morse a long time ago. I knew you'd be with Sweeney. I don't remember. And we bought DVDs, of course, yeah. And then Stephen says, I agree, Tony. But honestly, no idea what is my oldest owned DVD. Erin Brockovich would be a
yeah.
And then I've still got the first DVD I bought, so it says The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a 2-sided DVD. Oh, yeah, they had 2 sides.
I've got that exact one.
4:3 format, and the other is widescreen format.
Yeah. So on the inside track, you know, because you can't print a label on either side, it's got the 4:3 etched, you know, in the sort of like inner sort of like circle.
Yeah.
It's got 4, exactly like it says there, 4:3.
Yeah.
It is
I've got
really,
some
really cute.
very early ones where a film was split into two. If the film was quite a long film, you had to just turn over the DVD. It was on both
Mm.
sides because they could only,
Yeah.
I don't know, it must have been at beginning, they could only
That
fit so
that
long.
that that both sides thing was
DVD.
even in HDVD, because I bought my Star Trek collection on
Yeah.
HDVD. And that had the Blu-ray on one side and the HDVD on the other, and it
Oh,
and
yeah.
for that Star Trek collection. And I remember that because Blu-ray was a fighting format, Blu-ray and
Yeah.
HDVD.
Yeah.
And I bought the HDVD set, which is stupid, really, when you think about it, because Blu-ray won in the end.
Yeah. But
I
you
still
didn't
look at
know at
it
the
as,
time.
yeah,
Uh,
one of the most expensive sets I bought at the time. Really
wow.
was that.
Oh, God.
Heroes was another one. I bought the first series of
Yeah.
Heroes on HDVD. The worst thing that I bought on HDVD, which was stupid of me, was the Blade Runner HDVD set, which came in an aluminium case,
Oh, well.
and
Yeah.
it was the 5 disc edition,
Oh,
because
crikey.
I bought the expensive case version,
Yeah.
and the Blu-ray one obviously is the one you should have
Yeah.
bought.
Yeah.
Who wants to buy that HDVD one now? There's no bloody player
Yeah.
for you to play.
I got that Star Trek one, but I picked it up in a charity shop. Yeah, I think it was a
Wow.
pound. It was a pound.
Wow. That cost me
Yeah.
£121 when I
It
bought
was
that.
fantastic. That's one of my best charity shop ones because you get the DVD, don't you? You get the
Yeah.
so I can still use it. I can still watch it as
It's
DVD.
Blu-ray on one side and the H definition version on the other.
Yeah. Ah. And I wish I'd have got the second because I think they released the second season as well, didn't they? That would have been really nice to have. But anyhow, I've got the first one. Which is nice. And then anyway, bedtime. I will catch up with you hopefully soon. Thank you anyhow for joining us. And you're
Thanks, wee
probably
Bob.
gone and fast asleep now.
Keep going, matey. Keep getting them pictures sorted.
Yeah. And then David says, "Did anyone buy the Hammer the Comedy Blu-ray?" So I know they brought out a comedy one, but
Have they?
yeah, and I haven't. I haven't seen a great deal about it, to be honest.
I haven't heard
Yeah,
about
but
it.
I know they've released one. That was the one. It was a comedy.
The
Series of
funny thing
comedy
about
films.
that is, though, is I bought from Australia the buses films on Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, that would have
So
been
the
excellent.
only thing I'd be picking up on Blu-ray in that set would be George and Mildred, Man About the House, Rising Damp, and Love Thy Neighbor, I would think, if they're bringing out the whole Hammer comedy as Blu-rays.
Yeah,
I don't know what's in this Blu-ray set.
yeah. I have seen it, but I haven't heard. You know, like normally you get people showing it off and what have you.
I'm going to look it up
I've not
now.
really
Hammer
seen many people.
comedy Blu-ray set.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be on Indicator probably. I think it's on Indicator. It's the Indicator release. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's the Indicator one.
Oh, right. Hammer Volume 7, Ships and Giggles? No.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. I don't know what's on it though. What film?
Yeah, but it says Hammer Volume 7, so there's 6 others, is there?
Yeah. It's when they put all the Hammer films together. Indicator did.
Bernard Bresslaw, Richard Beckinsale, Glasgow, George Pollock, Wolf. Yeah, it's Indicator. So it's The Ugly Duckling, Don't Panic Chaps, A Weekend with Lulu, and Watch It Sailor. Can't say I've seen many of them. The Ugly Duckling, I think I've seen.
Bernard Breslow.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen that one, but I don't think I've seen Don't Panic Chaps. A Weekend
No,
with Lulu, definitely haven't seen.
no.
Watch
Be
It Sailor, I doubt.
They'll all get
Yeah.
individual releases eventually, so they might be worth checking out sometime. Having a look, because that'd be quite expensive. That would at the moment,
Yeah.
but then we'll get individual releases. Um, uh, and then Tony, has the phone told you to go to bed yet? Oh, we're at that stage. Yes.
No, but
Uh,
my phone probably will be telling me
uh,
that, won't it?
and James says, I've noticed a lot of YouTubers have started buying DVDs again just because they're not getting released on Blu-ray or 4K. Yeah, I've noticed that, but then people jump onto a bandwagon. They'll say, "Why I love DVDs now," whereas about 6 months ago, so they were going, "Oh, DVDs are finished. We don't need no DVDs." People see other videos, and I'm being cynical, but it seems to me that's what happens because they appear in my thing. Suddenly, everybody's loving DVDs again, but they've never gone away. People say, "Oh, they went out of thing." DVDs never went away; they're still with us. So I think sometimes Americans YouTubers get a bit carried away. They would really like to do it. This fast pace, shouting almost at your headlines.
I'm going to have to get
Yeah.
another bottle of water. I've just drank that one now.
Oh, well, there you are.
Carry on. I'll be back in a
I'll
minute.
carry on. Blade Runner, it seems says, was my first DVD that I still have. Yeah, I understand that totally. And then James said, Night Bob. And then Tony says, yeah, not sure of the first DVD. It's either Rain of Fire, an earlier Christian Bale film, which I do still have, or it may have been The Face of Fu Manchu. Don't have that any longer, as I got all five in the series when Indicator released them on Blu-ray. Yeah, I actually bought that, the Indicator box set, because I love the Fu Manchu films. They just bring back so many memories. I just love them, absolutely love them, with Christopher Lee as Fu Manchu. Yeah, I know people criticize it, but hey, it was good fun. I loved it. And you see Burt Walk popping up a lot as well. Wonderful. And then almost it told me to have a break an hour ago and that it would be bedtime half an hour ago. There you are, Tony. And then it said on or on, sorry. And then can you remember the year you got your first DVD player? They came out in 1997 and cost around 600 quid.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And as I've mentioned before, I was up in Manchester, and I bought myself for my new house a new widescreen Philips 32-inch TV with DVD player from a proper, store that sold expensive hi-fi kit and all of that sort of stuff, surround sound systems. So it would have been 1998, 1999 when I got mine. And I remember the DVD player was alone $399, $450. So yes, it would have been after 1997, and the price would have dropped. And to entice you, it came with DVDs that you got with the package, if you see what I mean. So, and that's why The Matrix is one of the early ones that I bought, because that was a 1999 2000 release, and I imported it, and it was a multi-system. So, yeah, you can imagine. That's an interesting time.
Yeah.
When did you buy? When did you get into the DVD market?
Do you remember they used to show advertising newspapers that you can get a DVD player and you can get so many films with it?
Yeah.
And there were multi-region as well, which was interesting at the time.
Yeah.
So I got one of those. I bought one of those. I just thought, right, I'll get that. I've still got there was only one video with it with 4 films on. The quality is crap, actually. And that's when I immediately thought, oh, I want some proper ones. And that's when I went to Smith's and bought the.
I've still got my first DVD player.
Oh yeah, I haven't. I think it packed in. I think. Yeah, I think it didn't work.
Mine was one of those ones that was advertised as haute couture.
Yeah.
And it was a Sony.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping, actually, possibly by end of month, with a bit of luck, I'm going to upgrade because it's getting near end now. I've got a Blu-ray player. My 4K player is fine, but I want a Blu-ray player which plays all regions of Blu-rays, and I've seen one. So I'm going to probably replace that one because that now is, I know it's getting near end. So hopefully I'll be getting one of that. I think it's needed. If we can get a multi-region, play anything, that's what I want, basically. So look here, David, I got that Hammer comedy set. They're very much their time, but I enjoyed them on the whole. Oh, that's good. I really enjoyed them. I would guess around 2005, David.
When he got his first DVD player.
Yeah. Mine was definitely 2000 because I thought I was excited. What happened was I went round, I was somebody's house I went round to, and they said, oh, look, we've got this DVD player for Christmas. That was it. It was Christmas. It'd be Christmas 1999. And they put it on, and I thought, oh, I went like that. And I thought, I'm having one of those.
Anyway, you better get cracking with this. But I will say this. Now that Tony has mentioned that he's got that Hammer comedy box set on Blu-ray, at least I've read out what the films are, because the DVD versions are coming around your way. I can tell you that
now. Stephen was got to first player. First DVD, The Mummy. That was a big film, wasn't it? I remember 1999. Steve says, did you see Dell? They've put up the Xbox by 160 quid this week, mostly because the chips are in short supply because AI data centers are using them. That's a lot of money.
I didn't know it was £160, but I've known for a very long time about AI data centers memory, because anybody that sort of like has watched my diary knows that I had to sort of like build my PC over Christmas. The most expensive part that went into the PC, and we're talking about the case and everything, was the memory. Because memory was just shot through the roof.
Yeah.
And you're going to find this happening with phones. You're going to find this happening with anything that's got memory in it. Hard drives, SSD memory cards,
all going up.
Because of that, all because of data centers and AI.
Yeah. And then Tony says, yet another thing data centers are using. And then that might be a late finish tonight. We try not to, but we will probably. Looks probable. And then, McMahon, have you seen that Ridley Scott is making a new Blade Runner film?
Yes.
Blade Runner 2099. Fantastic.
And I thought that was a bad idea. But
yeah, we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. And then I watched the trailer of a couple of days ago. It looks decent.
I thought it was a bad idea, but I don't know. I'm hoping, because the thing of it, I get very nervous when they mention another Blade Runner film, because I think to myself, it's going to take, if they cock it up, then they ruin the series. Yeah. And they struck gold with the last Blade Runner. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So, but if it works, it works. But I just don't know how. I just don't know where the story is going to go with that one.
If it does work, we'll have a trilogy we can talk about. We can say, this is a good trilogy. Yeah. Is it a film? I thought it was a TV series. They're saying I think it's a film. Jamie says. Um, my remakes top 10 will be in September. I don't have much time lately. Okay. Sorcerer is a great remake as well. Yeah. I've never seen that. Saw Wages of Fear recently. Yeah, the original one, isn't it? For me, Tony Sorcerer is William Friedkin's best film. I put it before The French Connection and The Exorcist. That's quite a compliment there. And then I'll have to get it sometime. Science says putting his thumbs up there. Steve says we should use text speech to say Potter's voice reading out all these comments. No, it's all right. I'm not into. Wasn't Paul Newman nominated for an Oscar for A Road to Perdition, which was after Nobody's Fault? I'm sure he was. He could have been. I don't know. That was for supporting actor Jamie. There you are. It's answered. It might literally be a brand new day by the time we finish tonight. And then they're all right. And then Tony Hawk says, "Good moaning." Oh, good. You've got to have a bit of IDI. Not IDI. What is it?
Hello.
Hello. That's it. You got to have a bit of that. I love it. Oh yeah, I didn't notice you said best actor. Oh, and here he is. He's in a bit later. Jim Jam movies. Hi guys.
Yeah. Who left the gate open? Told you all to shut that gate before you bloody come in.
And then Si says hi Jim Jam, and then Tony says hi James. Hi, Simon Tony. Muckman says, hi, Jim Jam. Better late than never.
Very much so.
And then Jim Jam says, got my free Spidey pin badge. There you are.
See, he only comes in to annoy me because he knows if he's watched my diary that I went to a cinema where there was no bloody freebies or anything that you could buy in regards to Spider-Man. And every other bugger's got posters and all sorts of stuff. And I'm the biggest Spidey fan that you can find.
Oh, dear.
And I can't go anywhere to travel to find anything. Because I can't even, travel somewhere to get it. So that's me stuff.
Not what he says. Just got back, Muckman.
He's just got back.
Yeah, I watched an absolute class film yesterday. 3 Men in a Boat. A first time watch. I've seen that one displayed. I've never seen the film. I've seen people putting it up. I think it might be on that Vintage Classics label or whatever. I've seen that. And then, laugh out loud. Stuart George hated that film, Jim Jam. He did, yeah. Stuart George hated it. And then Tony said, I'm thinking of getting 3 Men in a Boat, but Stuart's review put me off. Actually, I kind of agree, actually. It did me.
Who's Stuart?
Stuart George is another good YouTuber that
see, I only knew about Blu-ray, Blue Roy, because that's like Stuart. What's his name? Stuart what?
Stuart George. That's his name. He's very good. It's Stuart George. He's got his own views as well. He's really good. There's very few of those Studio Canal Vintage Classics I've not been happy with. That's a good one to say that a good series. Yeah, I wasn't sure about 3 Men in a Boat myself, but anyhow,
Stuart George Home Movies, got it.
Stuart George, no, just the final Pertwee series to come. Oh, final.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, and then I can see the other 4 series is on the shelf behind me.
I thought that's what we said though. It was the one with the dinosaurs and the one with the Planet of the Spiders. That's the last season of Pertwee.
Yeah. Anyhow, at least we'll have them all when that comes out. But as I say, I am worried about the Doctor Who things. I am worried. Not had a holiday since April. Anyway, he's not had a holiday since April.
He says.
Yeah, right. You have more holidays than the king.
Yeah, right. I reckon he's got a butler that bloody cleans his teeth for him and all.
I already told you where I'm going, and there's currently lots of wildfires that could ruin part of the holiday. Well, I hope it don't ruin it for you.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't, because I had a bet that it was you that started them. So,
Yeah, down under. And then where are you going to? Canada? No. Honestly, not had a day off work since Easter. Well, there you are. And we go near the end of August. Oh, it's getting nearer then. Dell's always got my backside said. And then
that was the reading out of that one, yeah.
Yeah. I'm meeting Neil's movie channel in Vancouver. Wow. You're actually going to meet Neil. Fantastic. Yeah. It'd be interesting because I'm sure he'll talk about that on his channel. Neil is a great guy. Englishman living in Canada. Cool. Are you going to try and get to an ice hockey game? And then it's the off season for ice hockey side. All right. And then I did look into that, but we're going for the bear hunting salmon before they go into hibernation instead. Oh, that would be nice to see some videos of bears hunting salmon. Jamie, that would be an amazing thing to go and see. Si says, yeah. Si says, I find that the Sweeney was made for men and Inspector Morse was made for mothers, if you get what I mean. One's a late night show and the other is for midweek evenings. That's an interesting analysis there. Yeah. I think maybe you're right as well. I have a handful of those two-sided DVDs. They were mainly US, I think. Yeah,
I think that's where they were introduced.
Yeah. Amma is on Indicator. Yeah, we've seen that release. Yeah. They're for early films, 50s and 60s. Yeah. I remember that Armageddon with Bruce Willis was a two-sided DVD. You had to turn it over halfway through there. Yeah. I don't think they could.
Yeah, the other thing that I remember about those is that they came out before they went dual layer.
Ah, that's it. That's probably why. Yeah.
I think they had a capacity of something like so many gig, and basically you had to turn them over.
That explains it. Definitely.
That was the early days, if I remember rightly. But
Tony says Weekend with Lulu is good fun with Bob Monkhouse and Leslie Phillips. Yeah, I know Bob Monkhouse did a little bit of
well, the one that I remember with Bob Monkhouse is where he was a dentist.
Ah, and of course he's in the first Carry On Sergeant, isn't he? It's in Carry On Sergeant. Yeah, Leslie Phillips. What can you say about Leslie Phillips? Yes.
Hasn't been said already, yeah.
Betty's calling me. Good night, chaps. Well, good night, Jamie. Thank you for joining us.
See you, matey. Have a great one.
When it comes end of August.
Have a good one, and I hope you got a lot of advertisement out of your visit here today.
And it'll be fast asleep now. And then if I got rid of DVDs, I'd lose half of my films, Tony says. Yeah, I understand. You don't want to do that, do you? No. Si says, night, Jamie.
Yeah, but he loses nothing because he just sends them. He doesn't lose anything because he just transports them to you. It's almost like, I'm not getting rid of nothing. I'm just going to post it to my mate because then I've got them in another place if I ever want them back.
And then Jamie says, night. Good night, Jamie.
Night, Jamie. Have a great one, matey.
Yeah. And then Tony says, missed out on that Fu Manchu box set. Oh, I'm surprised, but got the individual releases. Yeah, they did release an individual and the booklet, which that were selling off as extra excess stock. You did well then. At least you got them all. Brilliant. Del, have you heard from Rocket Bunny lately? I'm just wondering how he is. Yeah, I have not heard from Rocket Bunny, have we?
Yeah.
Is he okay?
You just read the next one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And then no, and I've contacted him through Steam, so I'll try again and let us all know. He had family issues last time. Oh well.
Yeah, there was things going on with his. There was
Yeah.
things going on with his father,
Yeah.
and that was
Oh, yeah.
health wise. So
Yeah.
it wasn't my position to say.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, I have no idea where we
Yeah.
are with that, and then therefore badgering him to say how are you, but
Yeah.
I think it's
I
been a couple of
understand.
months now, so it might be nice just to say, hey, I was thinking about you
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
People were asking.
Yeah.
how are you?
I mean, we just pass on our best wishes. Everybody passes on our best wishes to him.
Yeah.
That's and then Sai says cheers. Sai says 99 guys, great stream and chat as always. Salute to Delboy and see you later, Ian. And the obligatory shout out to Mrs. Dell. Thank you so much.
Definitely going to pass that on.
And then we've got to the last comment, and it's good night, all thanks. And thanks, Tony, as always, for being here. And yeah, just great. Thank you so much. And everybody else who's just been in, made comments, I just watched this. We always enjoy it. As I say it every week, it's a great pleasure being here, and we'll be here again next week. And thank you, everybody. So we'll just do our normal farewells.
Yeah, and like I say, thank you so much for making me feel welcome here, and I really do enjoy my time every Wednesday here. I just love it. So I'll just say, so it's goodbye from me,
and it's good night from him.
Good night. We're supposed to say that together, and you still miss it every time. Anyway, I always say salute in that way because Frankie Howard is just one of those characters that I love from my comedy youth. So over to my friend.
And all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again. Bye, everyone. Bye. Take care. See you next week.
See you next week.